What do you mean?
Don't consent to that, so
You could?
I don't want.
What do you mean?
Yeah, definitely.
That
Like, what
sounds
if?
that sounds fake.
uh, Yeah, it sounds fake until you
That
get some white
happened.
people.
That happened in public though.
Yeah, but speaking about it is regardless of that. I mean, the way we talked about it is fine. It's just that I don't want to name drop people.
Okay, fair. We'll have to.
Because it
Okay,
happened
okay,
in public doesn't mean it was.
okay, okay, okay. We won't.
Yeah, I cut out the name drops. Some of the name drops.
I,
Not all of them, obviously. Just
all
the
right.
sus one.
We won't say any names. Okay, okay, okay. All right,
Cool.
bro. Yo, what happened? What were you doing today
What was I doing today?
and last night, aka today?
Yo, this is day one, 2023. Said Happy New Year with the fam, the boys. Everybody was at my house.
Mm,
Um, we were just chilling, having fun. The first thought of 2023, actually, because a lot of people talk about their first words, but like
really?
the first thing I thought was like, it was more or less a feeling. I thought, yeah, let's get this shit started.
Yeah.
That was it. Let's just get this shit started. The first thing I uttered was, um, Happy New Year, baby. And then I kissed
Mm,
my wife.
nice.
What about you, man? What was your first thought of 2023, followed by your first sentence?
I do not know. I think I
What,
just
what,
said,
what did
I
you
told my,
feel?
sorry?
What did you feel?
I felt very calm and laid back, and
Mm,
I was just my family. The thing is, when I was setting my goals, I realized that 2023 is going to be the most stressful year of my life so far, and probably just like one of the most stressful years of my life in general, if it goes well, like so that would most likely be a good thing, just because of the things I want to do. But like at the moment, I'm just extremely calm. But like I'm also still very like holiday because like it's basically like the equivalent of Christmas. So it's like so yeah, like I probably like worked for like good maybe like 5 hours today, and then I was like there's even like people over right now,
yeah, of
so
course.
yeah, it's still very it's very chill as well because of that. But yeah, when it started, I felt very chill. I didn't feel any sort of rush or anything like that. Um, I because I know what I have to do, and I know that based on my based on previous data, I won't do it, but I will do it, and it's just yeah, like it'll play out. It'll play out like just the consistency will play out. So
No, it's
I don't
just
think I felt anything. Like Naval said, if I would have done anything differently, he said like if I could give advice to like my younger self, or no, yeah, did Naval say this? Like I would do the exact same thing. It's just like with less emotion, less angst. Um, so
mm.
yeah, I mean, dude, this year like I'm going hard on like positivity and like mindset training, all that shit, of course, but that's sort of to support the kind of stress that I'm going to be under like high chance of failure scenarios. That's so like right now, since it's only the very start, like I don't necessarily feel the pressure, so I don't really necessarily need that stuff.
Yo, I've been on that wave. I think I've been in the terms of gaining more self-awareness for the past 3 years. I really think that it's been a journey of getting a lot of peace.
Mm,
And like I've talked about before, it's been about like getting to the edge, right? Like, I started off like in the crowd. I wasn't very woke. I wasn't very conscious. I was very ignorant of my surroundings. And this past three years has been just a journey to, I guess, accept my circumstances and accept myself, and
yeah,
then get to a
nice.
point where I can expand off of that. And I think 2023 is truly the year of action. Like, this is action bias now. This is going to be, I mean, it has been already pre 2023. It has been since, I would say, September. Actually, no, since July of 2022. So you're absolutely right. Like Naval said, like I wouldn't change anything as I've been going, and I have no necessarily New Year's resolutions coming into 2023 because I would like to believe that I've already gotten rid of the things that I should have gotten rid of in the past 5 months.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I walk into 2023 feeling I actually feel exactly the same, which is I guess both scary and a good thing
Yeah, the
because
thing is, like, I know that the way I feel right now is like a complete, like, just 1,000x underwhelm relative to, the shit I'm gonna
yeah,
go through this year. Like,
exactly. It's underwhelming, but it's also like it's kind of sad. Actually, yo, we watched Scooby-Doo last night,
mm,
and there was actually a line that he said. It's so silly that but it was a funny time with the boys. We were watching a Scooby-Doo and he had a potion, like it was like a comic scene. He drank a potion where it made him like super articulate and smart, and he grew like Albert Einstein hair. And he started speaking, and he was like, he was saying, "Oh, how I feel so smart. Wow, how I miss the days where I chased my tail and like wagged my I
wow,
don't even know. Like he said, "Wow, I miss the days where I would chase squirrels and wag my tail in
yeah,
circles." And he said like, "Oh, how ignorant I was and how blissful it was." And I was thinking like, I mean, you already hear the cliche about it, ignorance is bliss. But losing the excitement of having like the turn of the year is kind of sad.
it's true.
I don't feel
This has been
exciting
this
at
has
all
been
because it's just the same thing.
the most like I felt like, even, which looking back I feel almost like stupid. I'm like, dude, how could I remember, like, I used to be so excited, like, for winter break, like, yo, there was years like in high school, early high school, like, I remember like being like grade 9, I was like so ready to, bust open Fortnite the second that the holiday started. And like I remember like in grade 10, I was just so ready to like just watch so much fucking Family Guy. And then I did that again in grade 11. So yeah, I used to get so excited. Um, so I think it's absolutely sad. And and th- and this goes into like some other thoughts, which it's interesting. I feel like we have a lot of kind of similar thoughts on this situation, because actually you asked me how I felt, but it occurred to me as you were talking, as you basically were saying things that I was thinking about over the past few days, is that I was already like thinking about it for like a few days before, and it was really like a quick like turnaround. But like the point is, like, I quickly turned it around, like thought through like the whole year and shit, and then like by like I remember it was like, like 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6. I was just looking at my watch, bro, and it was like super, like, it was the calm before the storm. It was super chill, which is super interesting because like we're in the first quarter right now, and like shit is just slowly starting to accelerate. And it's interesting because right now, like, it's shifting, because before it was always W's in the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter like fell again because like that's the school schedule, but
Yeah,
life is going to change. Like,
started
I
a
think we're going to
new
start
school
taking
year.
much more W's in the fourth quarter, now that we kind of step out of that kind of typical schedule. But as at the same time, like it's like when we look back on last year, like it was super calm, and like it's super calm right now. And to the thing of you talking about how the loss of excitement, like, yes, 100%. I've been going through that. It's super interesting. And another thing is, when I realized how much stress I'm got and pressure I'm gonna go under this year, my one thing was like, yo, how do I not lose myself? And then I stopped thinking about that because all the greats go crazy. Like Conor McGregor said that, like, uh, I've dedicated myself to the sport and I've gone crazy doing it. And then he like referenced somebody else who like was like famous, and then that person as well like talked about that. So it's like, yeah, like, absolutely, we're gonna go fucking crazy. And the thing is, we're meditating every day and all that, so we have those in place. But I could just say, what other choice
Yeah,
do we
yeah.
have? Which um, but the point is, like, yo, we're always going through processes just to get back to, like, our childhood base, right? Like, it's it's you can't get excited right now,
Mm.
um, but
Yeah,
in
that's
10
it.
in 10 years, like, like, you'll be able to get excited again, because you'll be able to facilitate that for the next generation.
Because
You'll be able to see the
you'll have
next
that
generation get excited.
you'll just have that gratitude at that point. Like
Yeah,
once you've reached the peak of the hierarchy,
yeah.
you get that self-actualization.
Also
You're
setting
gonna
out to
feel
do
this
new things.
gratitude.
Like, this is like, in some way, I'm here again at New Year's, and it's kind of interesting that it's not really like, because like I always said, like, yo, you either leave something when you at the height, in which point you're kind of, you don't want to leave, or you stay, and you might exit at the perfect time, but you might overstay, at which point it just gets boring, right? And like the
Mm,
same thing, like this whole thing is kind of played out. This whole life is kind of played out. Like, we're searching for something new. So yeah, it's the
yeah.
calm before the storm.
Oh Oh, absolutely, bro. I just can't wait till the eye hits, man. I can't wait till Hurricane Katrina pulls up and gives me some good memes, some good experiences in this. So, on that note, so for 2023, what are the goals, the 2023 resolutions, predictions for 2023
My number one
for
goal
yourself?
is to move to Los Angeles. When I
Number
first thought
one
of
goal.
when I first thought of the idea, it was like kind of ridiculous. And now, once you go through thinking of your goals, you stop sort of caring about them as much, which is why you typically fall out of them. But um, I'm ready to turn my life around. Like this climate is so dead. Like
Like
I've
the
just been driving.
actual both the human climate and the fucking
Interesting, interesting,
weather. It
interesting.
is dreadful here.
The
Like,
human one is played out, that's for sure.
yeah, and it's also
Um,
just like it's played out. We've been here before, but it's
yeah.
also just like I honestly think it's because of also the winter that it makes
Oh,
everybody equally
100%,
depressed.
100%,
So bad.
a thousand
Nah,
percent.
nah, it was so bad. I wore my boots today. They were like what, like $150. Fucking Timberlands.
Yeah,
Cold feet still to this day.
yeah. I
And
mean,
it doesn't matter what boots you wear.
I
They're
forget to
gonna be
get pissed
cold.
off about these things, but that's not gonna help me. It's gonna be strategy, business strategy is gonna help me get there. But
Mm.
I remember just like my parents are driving me around Ottawa, and I just sit. I'm like, Ottawa is so ugly in the winter time.
It's so, yeah, it really
It's
is.
it's
I mean, the
incredibly
park
ugly.
space is good. The only reason it's like it has any redeemable qualities is when it's green, because we have a lot of park space. We're the capital. We
It's
have to have
beautiful. Yeah,
ample park space. But when
yeah.
the winter comes, all the color is gone, and there's no buildings to redeem it. The only buildings that are there are the historical buildings, and those are all downtown. There's no like impressive architecture anywhere else. Even downtown, it's like boxy brick buildings, and it's super
Yo,
disheartening, especially when you're on campus. Like when I pull around at Ottawa U, I'm like, wow, this is like depressing.
yeah.
It really just feels like high school again, and it's just, anyways, we've been
Being
on
at
that.
Waterloo, Kitchener, it's the same experience. Again, there's always excitement in the air, especially at the start of the year. But it's also not shitty climate at the start of the year. But just in general, I
Yeah.
guess there is that sense that this is kind of a high level place. The buildings are definitely nicer, but nonetheless, like for me, it really depends. Like,
Experience of the winter time is going to be miserable anywhere. I don't think anybody likes it. I don't think anyone has liked it across all of history. They always like
it's,
dread the winter time. The crops die, the leaves
I
die, your
mean,
animals die, you die.
well, yeah, it's happening right now, bro. Like, so,
I can't have that.
so yeah, that's like for me, that's gonna be super meaningful. I mean, it's really something that like I wanted to do probably since I was like 8 or 7.
Yo, but like what is it? Like what is it in there? I know we've already talked about this, but like
Yeah, because the thing is,
really break it down.
a
What's
lot of
the
people
drive?
don't. So a lot of people don't. A lot of people hate on you know LA and California, which is fine. Like it's not for everyone for sure, and but I kind of know that it'll be for me, and also like first of all, dude, we're still taking W's. Like
Yo, sure.
going south is always a W.
Yeah,
Okay,
literally. Oh my
going to the
God,
US is
everywhere.
a fat W anyway. So it's like just because it's not fucking like Boston or like Florida, you'll get pissed off or whatever. Like no, like relatively speaking, I took a
Yeah.
W going to Kitchener. Like I was already like 100 kilometers
Yo,
south.
yeah.
Like bro,
That's 100.
it's a
The
little
thing
hotter
is,
there.
it makes a difference, literally.
It
Like your
absolutely
weather
does.
is better
Yo, no, no,
there down
it
there.
100% is. There's been like 1 or 2 days when I was like, damn, it's bad. And the interesting thing is, I still like, dude, I go outside, like I bust, like it's funny because here I drive, right? It's so weird how my mind never actually clicked. Like the second I arrived at my res, it never actually occurred to me that I don't have a car. Like it just like
Yeah.
automatically was in my mind, like, yeah, you just bus now, like you just go. Whereas in Ottawa, like
Nah.
busing is always a fat hassle. I don't know why. Well, of course,
Bro,
because we're on the university,
yeah.
right? There's the bus stops,
But it's also like the
most of
weather
the time.
also fucks everything up.
Yeah,
Like we've had like 2 weeks of bad snow days, 2 weeks of it,
yeah,
like consistently, and that
yeah.
was also even before the final exam season even started. Like we had succeeding
No,
risk
that doesn't occur. That doesn't
horrible
occur,
stuff.
behind Toronto. Like, no, 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 that doesn't occur. Um,
It's because you have the water, man. The
yeah,
water
it's
has
much
such
closer to the
high
water.
specific heat capacity.
It's also just
Retains
more
all the
south.
heat. It's
Absolutely.
also, yeah, more south.
Okay.
Exactly. That's why it's just better. Like it's your
Yeah.
latitude is
Yeah.
going crazy.
So,
People talk
right.
about doing pull-ups. I just want to decrease my lats. I don't want to flex them, you know. I want to get the
And
fuck out of here. Anyways,
yo,
so
okay. So essentially, I was, you know, because it got a bit hard. You know, I was just getting really annoyed. Like I kept just like downloading images. Like it's so boring.
what of
Um,
LA?
no, no,
Downloading
no.
image.
For my posters, right?
Oh,
You
I
know,
see.
and like I had to, ask myself again, like, do you want to do this, knowing what the answer will be, but just like kind of a last minute, recall, and I was just thinking, once again, like about just like going down, staying in the computer science program, you know, going down the path, just like, and then of course, I thought about, I, I thought about like, because I know what the outcome would be. Like, I would go and get like a residency, whatever it's called for the business sense, at like one of like the big record labels. Once I graduate in New York City, they start me at like 80K, and then I would just work my way up, and I would kill it, of course.
Mm.
So, but then,
Do you do you still have plans? This is a sidetrack. Do you still have
yeah,
plans to innovate in the music industry? Like, do you still have excitement for like startups? Or do you just want to be like around making events and planning stuff? Like, do you still want to be at
um,
the cutting edge of that, like incorporating AI and technology into that?
I I don't know for sure right now, like right now when I think about like where does my heart want to go, like I want to be around events primarily. And there's
You
also
want
some
to be
nostalgia.
around those experiences. You want to
Yeah,
create more
and I want to
experience.
facilitate them.
I like that.
Um, so because I think as well about like like Berkeley going to like music business, which is like they're focusing on like innovation.
How much many percentages are Duchan's presence at Berkeley influencing you to go there?
Oh, well, the thing is, right now I don't want to go anymore because I want to go to LA. But like
No, I know, but
yo
like
when I was gonna go there, well, when I was like gonna apply there, Um, I can't say the same way that I was saying like it's always a long story, right? But if I'm being real, it's like at the end of the day, like I can't say how much I really want to innovate in music because the thing is like I like it's hard to be real with yourself, right? So it's like I might say I want to innovate because I know that that's where the opportunities are and that is cool and that we're in tech. But at the same, but like it might just like low key be like, yo, like I want to do festivals.
That's interesting.
But and then so same thing with Berkeley,
That's
right? Like
real.
obviously I want to say that no, like it's just me. And like, when I found the program, like, oh, like this is perfect. Like let me just make the money to get there. But in my mind it occurred like, yo, when I pull up to Boston in September, that's gonna be the fucking littest dap of my entire life. So
That
that's the
would
next thing
be
that occurred to me. So the thing is, it's really, it's not, I don't think that it's a primary thing, which kind of proof is in the pudding. Like I'm not, yeah, yeah, no, yeah. Now that you make me think about it, because it's actually a really good question, and yeah, bro, you're asking the good questions. Like this actually reminds me of when Dushan told me, bro, you just asked like the real question, and you just asked the real question, and yeah, it actually does not. It's not pushing me or pulling me away. It's not like pushing me or pulling me away on the margin, as in it's a fat positive, but it's not at all a deciding factor. Like it's only 1%
mm.
because because for one thing, I understand that um like we're still gonna be very very far, you know, from each other's careers, and like
Yo, in regard,
we'll
well,
only
not
converge.
necessarily. I
We'll
mean,
only
who says you
converge
won't
if we
be
become the best. You know what I'm saying?
exactly?
We'll only converge
Well,
which
I
if we
assume that
become the
was
best.
inevitable. I assume that was inevitable
It
to
is
begin with.
inevitable. It is inevitable. Of course, it's inevitable. But like, um, because we will be the best, right?
Yeah,
So of course we'll
exactly.
converge.
There you go.
But I saw what he was saying, and what I knew was like, bro, like let me go there and basically thrive in the same way that he thrived in the environment. Um, and yeah, yeah, like he's the one who kind of showed me like he's the one who reminded me of, yo, how much you can thrive in the right environment. But uh, but it wasn't him specifically because
Mhm.
again, like I know, like yo, we're always gonna link up, like one way or another, right?
Yeah, of course, of
Right, like
course.
once the flights happen and shit, like once that's all going down, like it's just completely inevitable, as you said. Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, bro, I just can't, dude. I don't know what it's the weather, man. Like I cannot, like
Yo, actually, one of my goals were similar to that. And it was a big factor is the weather, but I've actually like I couldn't actually for the life of me pinpoint what my decision would be. So I have actually two options so far. I could
mm,
go to Australia and pursue a bachelor's degree and
yeah,
live in Australia with my uncle because he lives in Sydney. Sydney, beautiful city, and it
yeah,
has a really revered program there at the UTS, University of Technology in Sydney.
hmm,
And they have like one of the only quality bachelor programs for AI and machine learning that I've been aware of. Um, but then I also know I have opportunity in the States, either to pursue academia or to actually work, potentially. That's in the works right now.
yeah,
Um, but I've actually been having like this like this dilemma in my head on what path I should take because I think regardless of which one I choose, I'll be in a good position to succeed. It's just that it's been a question of like not only like what do I truly want, but also like what experiences do I want to have?
yeah,
And that actually has been taking a lot of soul searching. And there's also the factor of like how quickly will my growth be and how will the long-term growth be
yeah. It's
affected
it's
there?
it's
And
the
that's what I
same things
wanted
for
to be
me,
talking.
100%.
That's what I wanted to talk about though, because like it's this is might be like one of the biggest decisions of my life because where I develop um my network
It's
could
true. It's
absolutely
true.
affect my success.
It's a
And
base, right?
it's not like you can't develop a huge and impactful network wherever you are in the world. Like I could probably reach out to some if I had credibility, that is. If I could reach out to like Sam Altman if I was, in the first 2023 batch of Y Combinator, just because, I applied to Y Combinator. Like you can be an international person and still make
Yeah,
these big connections in the States and anywhere. But it's just that like it's also a question of like how fast will these things be accelerated? Where's the
yeah,
business? Where's the industry
right.
going? And in the future, how will those connections be played out? And it's essentially more or less like an idea of like what are the things that I truly want to like dig into in my future? And that actually um poses a lot more
It's
questions.
competitive. Like it's a pros and cons list. Cause
It really
cause for
is.
me, the
Because
overarching thing is like, dude, I gotta go where the climate is, but I know full well that like it's like low key, like it's low key not as smart as like getting the foundation, building
okay,
up the
but the thing
network.
is, like, if you were going purely for the climate, why would you choose LA? You could just choose something that's a tax haven like Florida or Texas, and they're equally in
Oh no,
this.
I'm
They're
not
the
going
same
pure for the
country.
no, no. Like I
Yeah,
didn't get into it because
exactly.
I wanted to let you speak, but like once we get there, like
Yeah.
it's like it's a huge arc. But
Yeah,
what
so
all
like
I'm saying is like yeah, like I completely agree with you.
yeah, so like it's a question between like and I honestly I don't even know. There's a lot of possibilities. So for one, I actually see the future of AI in actually any industry, not just AI, in both um obviously America, but also Australia. I know they're a huge exporter for Asia, China especially,
Really?
which could be
Wow.
potentially the new global superpower. And actually,
Yeah.
I think they are. I would say they are the new
Wow.
global superpower at the
Yeah.
moment. They have the highest GDP, etc., and they're also funding the growth of Indonesia and Taiwan and all these other countries in the area. They're all getting heavily imports. They're getting a lot of imports from Australia. Australia's funding their growth. They have a lot of raw materials and they got a lot of mining, a lot of infrastructure for that. And they have incredible climate as well. Um, but you see, it's a question of like, will I build my own network here? And could I potentially pursue something on one of those levels of industry? Because I would be passionate about that. And I am passionate about stuff like that. Or would I have to stay in, come to America, where there's actually probably a higher chance of my growth to be accelerated there through AI startups
Mm.
and through things like Y Combinator and more like reputable accelerators and more reputable network connections. There's also more like they have the bigger brain drain They have more geniuses. They have more pull for people
Yeah,
internationally to come in. And I could establish myself better. But, like the States has, also its cons. The States doesn't have,
absolutely.
it doesn't have the biology, in fact, that I would love to have. It doesn't have the
Yeah.
landforms. It doesn't
No,
have
yo,
the,
yeah, like especially for you, bro, 100%, a
I
hundred
would love
percent,
it.
hundred
I'm
fucking
super,
percent.
and the thing is, like, I've always been passionate about conservation, and I'm super into, I've always been incredibly infatuated with the idea of a coral reef and the tropical fish there. That is like a dream come true ever
It
since
is sort
Finding
of career
Nemo.
versus life.
Well, I mean, the thing is, eventually I will come back to these things. It's just a question of where do I start?
Yeah,
Because I will go back
of
and I'll
course,
build infrastructure in Australia once I get my capital, and
of course. But
I will want
you
to
want the
irrigate.
experiences now.
Exactly. Do I want the experiences now? Do I want to start mining opals with my wife in the outback, or do I want to start, building solely a business and focus entirely on that? And it is basically a question of like, how do I want to live? Because, and that's the biggest con, right? Like, I think in Australia, I feel like I'm actually running away from responsibility because I'm going to be in an
Absolutely.
environment which completely new. There's a chance that I might not even be able to bring Cal, and I'll be truly alone. I'll be in a completely new place. I'll be in entirely different circumstances. I'll have to rebuild from the beginning, and I'll also have to, I guess, like it's just a big adaptation. You have to move from something that you're so known to. The
Yeah,
systems are a lot different,
yeah.
and
Your problems become, you basically grow while it's easy growth, right? Because it's easy
it's
and
easy growth because
ineffective growth because
it's easy growth because it's like the same kind of growth that I've already gone through.
yes,
It's like
and
restarting.
you
It's a
have to
new
do it.
file.
You have to do it so you don't have to start a business, basically.
Yeah,
So,
exactly, which is a big time consumption. However, like inevitably I could end up back there. And I think
I'm
Australia is
not,
going to be
listen,
a growth.
we're gonna end up where our soul like wants to be in the end.
Mm.
It's just the urge for an easy life
But then
now.
again, like the AI degree that I could get from UTS could actually completely accelerate my career in the same direction that I wanted it to go anyway. Like it could be such high value that I could just propel it and have a startup and have like credible and reputable networks from there
Yeah,
and pull it back into um America. Like I could very well
absolutely.
have a lot of knowledge that I need in the short term and then be able to actually discuss with high ups in the field and then come back to the States with already like a degree in that and they'd be like, "Oh, you don't even have a PhD. How do you know this shit?" And I'm like, "Oh, I took a bachelor's degree. My bachelor's was specialized purely in that." Then again, like I still think university is a scam, so it's not a big pull, but regardless, having like more tangible things to express my knowledge and my specific knowledge in something is a little bit more desirable. In the States, though, Cal doesn't even want to go there, so that's also like a huge pull for me. She doesn't want to live in the States, but also,
She just want to go to San
um,
Fran.
that's what I said. I said, you don't want to go to San Francisco? I would love to live in San Francisco. That would be a big pull.
Yeah.
The thing is with the States, I think the pros are that like
Could she
it
even get in though?
is, pardon?
Could she even get in though?
Yo,
Like,
that's the thing.
right?
I'll tell you about it. I'll tell you about it later, but there's a chance that I could get citizenship, which is insane. Like it would take a couple years, obviously, but like there would be a loophole that I could go through.
Well, you got
Um,
Ycom behind you though. In that case,
well, yeah, exactly. Like it would be essentially
anyways,
if I become a citizen, she becomes a citizen, and it's all good because we'd be married, so
yeah.
it'd be GG. So that's not really an issue, but it's not a loophole, America. I swear, I'm not breaking any laws. I would be working for you, anyways. Um, so yeah, like America, I think it's truly is a land of opportunity if you take advantage of opportunity, and I think that's true for anywhere. But I mean, it is a fact that that's where all the information technology is being produced. That's where all the innovation is happening. It's in these countries. It's in London and it's in Australia. It's in especially the US. So if I want to truly accelerate my career, it would be there. It would just be like I guess it would be also a scary change, but not as big. Um, there might be a little bit more things to worry about. There's guns. I don't know, like maybe I'd
You're not even
be,
on go mode. That's what's
yeah,
up.
like that's the thing. That's
There's no where do I get toilet paper, bro. There's yo, I have 5 meetings today.
yeah. And in the States, it'll be truly competitive, not only in the sense of startups, and I would enjoy that. I would actually expect that to be the case regardless of where I went. But like I feel like it would be just competitive to exist, even in the States. I feel like it would
Well,
be
you
a
have to
competition.
survive because
Yeah.
they'll take your visa and your salary, or even start with your
Take my visa, take my citizenship, deport
where you
me,
gonna
shoot
live,
me.
right? Yeah,
Shoot me. The FBI could come on my doorstep. Like it's truly like I feel like it's like a
bro, that was
it
a
low key
crazy
scary.
ending to 2023 to 2022. By the way,
Yeah,
that
Andrew
was
Tate got fucking
dude,
arrest,
that
bro.
was so. That's like actually some movie, like
Dude,
simulation existence evidence. Andrew Tate
literally, it's the
goes on
Matrix.
Twitter, dude. That was that was honestly a crazy ass ending to 2022. And
Yeah.
but the thing is, like, we got
Hey,
him
he got out
producing
though.
weed.
I
He did.
really thought there's a part of me that I was thinking like, nah, maybe he is actually arrested. Like maybe, but I was fully like thinking like this is the acclamation. This is all the points that he said they were gonna arrest him. They said, oh, first they cancel you, then they try to find a reason to put you in jail. That doesn't work. They kill you. That's he's on the second step, bro. Next stop is death. I fear for this guy, man. I pray for him, honestly, because they tried to put him in jail for some shit that doesn't exist, as far as we know. He got set free. He's on his Twitter. He was like, "Yo, agents, the Matrix sent their agents, and I'm out here," which is insane. They raided his house, took all of his electronics. They're really trying to shut this guy down, and that's I feel like that's a different conversation to have on how scary that is.
Yeah.
But
Um.
hey, he's free, so.
But either way, in 2023, it's up to us to
Mhm.
apply that knowledge. Um.
I think I think the States is calling me a little bit more.
Yo,
I feel
there's.
American
I just want
already.
to say, there's calm excitement in the air. Calm excitement.
Yeah.
It.
That's what I
It.
felt, man. When we
It.
did the toast to New Year's, I just sat down and I was like, yeah, it's go time.
We know what we really know what's to come, but we don't know anything about what's to come. Like
Yeah, exactly.
we know what's going to happen, but we cannot even fathom how it'll feel. It,
Well, that's the thing, right? Like,
it's and and the thing is, before that, before this call, like basically, like 48 hours ago, it was just a matter of there was so much, right? Like, this whole process. Can it really be done? No, it can't be done. But could it? Isn't there
it
just a
could
little
be.
chance? Isn't there just a little chance it could work?
Oh, of
Is there
course
just
it
like
could be
a little
done.
chance? I'm like, nah. It's like that thing, it's like, nah, that couldn't work. But that was my original. That was the
Yes.
originally when I was like, well, originally it was like, okay, yo, Berkeley 70K if I get in. Okay, like 3 months ago, I was like, shit. Like, what if I start selling posters online? Like, that would be a pretty low startup cost. I'm like, yo, no way I can make 70K. No fucking way. And then when I thought like, okay, I should move to LA, then I'm like, bro, nah, that can't.
Yo, you
So
talk
there's
about
that.
70K, LA is gonna be more than that, bro. You're
Oh
gonna
no,
be
100%. No, no, 100%. Uh, right. That's
you
Berkeley.
gotta
70K,
go.
70K is Berkeley. LA is,
Probably
so basically,
200K.
sorry.
200K to be safe. I would say between
Yeah,
150K,
I'm
I
not
think.
well, 140 Canadian
Well, where are you
dollars
gonna
is a
live?
bit over. Well,
In the
um,
hills.
I'm gonna get an Airbnb first. Like, I'm gonna go there in according to plan. I'm gonna go there in Jul end of July or start of July. I don't know. It's written out on my phone. But the point is,
Scope it
like,
out.
in the second half of summer, and then I'm gonna go just like to scope it out, right? Take an
Yeah.
Airbnb for 2 months, but I have to be able to income like 140 CAD.
Hmm.
I don't know for sure. Like, I didn't actually count it out, but in my head, I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
like just like on the
that's
surface
reasonable.
level. Once it comes closer, obviously, right? Like, it'll be. But the point is, financially speaking, the point is, it's a fat ass goal. It's a fat ass goal.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
we
that's
have
what you
fat
should
goals,
that's what you should leverage.
and the thing is, like, so before all this, my idea about this call is like was actually like yo, we're here. This is gonna be the most stressful year. It's even hard for me to say because now I'm just like, shit, bro. Like, let's just see what happens. But before I was thinking about this call, I was thinking that it's gonna go down something like Like I would say something along the lines of it's this is going to be so fucking stressful, and this is going to be just like this is going to be so tough. But it's weird because I can't even
But it's good.
say it now because now all I'm thinking is like calm excitement.
Yeah.
Um,
Say what? That it's gonna be stressful?
well, it will just like most definitely.
Yo,
Um,
like I don't even feel
which is
that. I
fine.
mean, like for one, I actually often enjoy the pressure, especially when I push through it. Like if I actually succeed through it, it just feels even better. I welcome that. I feel like
Yeah,
I feel like it's true that I just work better when
you
I
must.
have that drive, that necessity to succeed. I embrace that pressure. I embrace the stress.
These are good
Um,
questions. These are high level questions though. Like you're saying, yo, Australia or San Fran? Like, which one would
yeah,
it
like
be? I'm like, dude, that's a good
yo, it's like
we're at a
it's
good place, you know.
it's Sam
Um,
Altman or Steve Irwin. Who am I gonna meet?
yeah, these are
Frankly, I don't
good.
want to meet Steve Irwin because he's in heaven and he died. So
Okay, and now I look like a
yeah, so
dumbass.
maybe I want to stay in. Maybe I'm gonna have to meet Sam because he's still chilling. But yo, but like, I mean, man, that's a crazy goal, bro. You better achieve it. Is all I can say to that. Like, you're gonna do it.
Yeah, so
You're gonna do it,
essentially,
bro.
in order for this to work, I really like I have to cover all. I just have to cover every fucking like I have to play the game almost like I'm the puppet master and really know every single side, like always be aware of what can happen, which is why like my goals this year include like meditating 3 times a day. Um, and then
Mm.
after that, like,
Yo, but
you
like,
know,
what? Why is that? Like,
because
why is it?
because I need to be extremely efficient. I need my head to be working, and I
Mm.
also need my mind to be in a clear state because then it's like I know what to do. Like this is in Limitless when he took the pill. What happened was the first thing he said was it wasn't like he just named some drug or whatever like high energy or whatever. He's like my mind just felt clear, like I knew what to do. And when I meditate,
Yeah.
I actually the other day after I meditated, I came to my parents and I said, "Wow, I feel like I just woke up again," which is funny because it sounds super spiritual. And then I had to explain, right? Like, oh, you meditate, you woke up again. It sounds spiritual, and I had to explain, like, no, 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 like I literally mean, like, it feels like I woke up, as in,
How long do you meditate for?
well, 10 to 20 minutes, and so,
Interesting.
and
I
so,
do the same thing. I feel like it's not long enough for me. Like I do it in the morning and at night before I go to bed and when I
yeah,
wake up to compare my thoughts, especially between the
mm,
day, and then I just try to have that clarity. But it I feel like often I don't even have enough time. Like
it
I feel like
is
I wish
true.
I did it
If
faster.
if you're going down the more like Buddhist sort of like you're trying to journal path, like, yeah, for me, again, like, I need to just be extremely efficient and clear so that I can be productive. And when I said I feel like I just wake up, it's like what I meant is when I wake up in the morning, I like when it's the morning, I have the most energy. Well, not
Mm.
anymore necessarily because like I don't get enough sleep, which I can try to, take a cold shower, exercise, or I can have coffee if it comes to that, which is a sacrifice that, I might make this year. And however, the point is like let's say I got, the full sleep I needed to and I just woke up, I can start working, right? And it's like I have the most energy. And then, like hour and a half, it just goes down. And then by it like 2 hours, like it's almost like I'm out, right? But then if I meditate properly, I can actually just like go back. Like it just like makes me feel like, like I'm new again. Like I can go again. So again, this is
Mm.
very important because, my scaling goals with my poster business are this all relies basically on this business, right? Not to say that, if I realize that it's not about happen just because of like a cap, then, of course I can look for a different stream of income. However, nonetheless, that still requires me to be incredibly efficient because really the way this fails, first and foremost, is if I don't use out all of my resources, not if the like it's just truly a market cap. So it's like, for example, all right, March 1st to March 31st, I need to net profit pre-tax $11,288, right? because I want to, because then April 1st to April
That's a good
30th,
deadline.
again, net profit pre-tax $11,288. Why? Because that goes down, that's 8,233 US dollars, aka times 12, 100K, right?
In
Which means that,
USD.
yeah,
USD.
right. So
8K
so
though, like that's
it's a
pretty
hundred, that's
achievable.
100K a year. So here's the deal. I
Yeah.
need to do that for 2 months because 1 month is not consistent. 2 months, let's call that
Post-tax?
consistent. Sorry, pre-tax,
Post-tax.
pre-tax, pre-tax. This is still not my income, but it's at least something. It's at least something. Okay, so that's because if I can get that for 2 months, let's say okay, I consistently profit 100, like as in I can consistently profit 100K a year. It's not true because it's pre-tax, and there's still like expenses and shit that are
Yeah,
not
and
included
you
in a
know, you
net
still don't know
profit.
the sustainability of your
And of
enterprise or
course,
whatever.
and it'll all be reinvested. However,
Net
that's
worth 100,000 by the end of the
that's
year.
that's a huge goal, right? And so that needs to happen. That needs to start happening in 2 months, right? In 60 days,
Mm.
right? However, if it doesn't, then this whole thing falls in because I won't be scaling far enough to move to LA this year, right? So that's what needs to happen. You know,
And
starting
it's not okay. I actually just had the thought, which was interesting. I was like, yeah, that's fine if you don't do it. No. No, it's actually
well,
not.
that's the
Not
point,
okay.
right? Like it's not okay
It's not
because
okay.
that means that I can't do anything. So then once, but my goal with that is that again, what needs to happen is November 1st to November 30th of this year, I need to profit, net profit pre-tax, 112 $880, $112,000, right? Canadian, aka that. So times 12 in US, that translates to a million, right? And then again from December 30th to December 30th first, and that way I can reach my goal, which I will film and post to YouTube weekly of um becoming a millionaire in one
At
year,
that
right?
point or starting today? Starting.
Once I come back to university, like I'll start filming it. So basically, like
Mm.
starting after like after the
Yo, are
first
you gonna
week.
post it on Motive?
No, I'm posting it on my personal channel. I could post on
Yo,
Motive if it makes sense,
yo,
but I can.
should we post it on Motive?
No, I don't think. I think Motive should be either us or like once the company goes off,
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely
because
right.
our personal. Okay, fuck you. The last thing I said, I sound like Jason. No, this is me off. But like, so I can't say our
Yo, my
personal
bad. I didn't
brands.
mean to. Didn't mean to do you
Okay,
like that, bro.
okay. Um, if you want to sell me on posting on Motive, absolutely you could, but I don't really see the point.
No, I was just wondering what you would
Yeah,
think. I honestly
that's
wouldn't do it.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I was thinking I'll post it on my personal channel. Okay, geographically speaking, if I can align this, like if this aligns with these financial goals, geographically speaking, May 8th, like I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna get my driver's license, do some other shit that my mom was talking about that I need to get out of the way, like some administrative shit. May 8th, go to Toronto, stay there to July 2nd. Okay, so that's about 2 months. Basically, set up shop in Canada so that I can, for the business, so that I can leave Canada, right? Worst case scenario, it's literally just some like printing shop that does it. Although, like
That is
realistically,
very worth it.
it'll have to be um like my own thing, and we'll have to have like a manager under payroll. And
Hattie
um
Yakin?
it could be, but that'll just be for the summer. Like the point is, if I want to leave, like it has to be a full-time thing. You can imagine the amount of fucking profit we have to be making to get there, right? So, and then, I thought about it. I think that if I have the right amount of profit, then July 2nd to July 9th, I come back to Ottawa for the week, and then I go away, you know, so basically spend the last 2 months of summer in Los Angeles in my Airbnb. And then if I set up shop there, then I stay there for, you know, the rest of time. So
Mm.
the common theme here is that these are extremely, like under the time pressure, these are extremely ambitious goals, right? To be able to set up shop in
They're
Toronto where I
they're
live,
achievable.
the amount of profit that I would need, like I don't know the number, but I just understand that the amount of profit that I needed for that to be able
Like an
to
actual
have,
shop, if you need an actual shop in fucking Toronto, you probably need more than
well, it's
150K.
GTA, right? Like no, like it'll be like a warehouse facility. The point is GTA
Mhm.
is close to all the universities, right? So it'll be fast shipping.
Hey, but yo, that's interesting. There's probably I'm sure there's probably warehouses that will be able to house your stuff though for
Oh yeah,
cheaper.
absolutely. But
Like those
paying
businesses
somebody,
would
but
exist.
having payroll, like again, that's why it's like
I mean, you know what
me.
you
I'm
could
not
do? You
at the
could just,
point.
what if you don't even use a warehouse? What if you just like, I'm sure there's a platform. There's actually one, I think it was called House or Home or something, where you can just like pay people to have them store your stuff like a warehouse. Like just take the same real estate.
Yeah,
I don't know
absolutely.
if that's going to be
Yeah,
cheaper over time, but I don't know. I'm
absolutely. The
just saying,
point is, the
you know.
point is, I'll go to Toronto and figure it out. But the sales
Mhm.
will have to be there, to
Yeah,
facilitate that. Because, bro, like again, like I can't get investment under this timeline, and frankly, I don't want to have to go through the fucking struggles of investing for a goddamn poster business. Like this isn't even the point. It's literally a side quest.
no,
So,
yeah, literally.
but
Well, I would say it's a side quest. I'd say it's the first
there's
quest.
it's good.
It's the
However,
first quest.
either way, no matter any of that aside, like philosophically, don't want to get investment, whatever. I don't really care. It's like business is business. But if I want to get it done in 2 months, like I can't go through an investment cycle.
Yeah.
So so I'm not. This is why I was actually knew that it was going to be stressful because, and this is why I was thinking, do I really want to do this? Because I'm not. I don't have any credibility beforehand to say that I'm in the position
Mm,
to execute this. The amount of fucking work that this requires, like the thing on one hand is like I look at other people, like I look at like oh like they're CEOs, right? Like look at them, like they're fucking like they could literally do this in like 2 days, right? So it's like, but
yeah.
on the other hand,
Literally.
like I don't know, man. So
Yo, but how? How could they do that in 2 days? How could
good
Elon
question.
make exactly what you're doing in 2 days?
Good question.
Do you know how? Do you know how he can make that? He has people under him, which is no big surprise. He has a network, he has capital, and he has the credibility to do so, so people would trust him and run for his business. He also has the branding. And that's a great segue into my top three, I guess, ideas that I want to solidify for
Okay,
myself.
nice.
So my top goal actually, what my actual physical goal is to shake hands with someone with a net worth of over $1 million. I don't think that's
Interesting.
an impossible feat. Like that's a pretty easy thing. I
That's
just
really
want to
easy.
be able to have
Probably done it
someone
before.
who has, I mean, I'm sure Ian Lockhart
Yeah,
has a net worth
right.
of over $1 million, but I want it to be somebody in the AI field, someone in a tech startup, somebody who's actually
Yeah.
creating like startups or business, somebody who's in my field. I want to be able to shake hands with them. That's it. That's the whole goal. Um, and this stems from the ideas that I have for my goals and the goal setting that I have. I
Mm-hmm.
need my goals to align in three things that I want for the next, for the foundations of my career, essentially. So it starts off with one, I want capital. So my goal, much aligned with you, was to get a net worth of just 100K flat. I just need to have that no matter how I get it. I expect to have that by the end of the year. Which is just capital. Second off, I need credibility, which can come in multiple different forms, from maybe posting research papers, which is what I want to do. I want to actually have posted some sort of research paper just because I'm still passionate about research, regardless of the academia. And I'm still passionate about innovation. So I want to be able to innovate in the field and have something tangible and something cutesy. I think it's cutesy, like a research paper to be published in a journal, um, if I could. And then the last thing is having a network, which reinforces credibility, but it's a lot more powerful than that. And that just comes out with overall influence. So I want to build actually personal brands. I want to be able to have like a very credible brand and also a very genuine like personal page. I want to build a personal website for myself, and I want to truly encapsulate what I stand for this year. So my actual goals as follows are shake somebody with it first was shake hands with somebody who has a net worth of $1 billion. I think that might be halfway through 2023's goal or 2024's goal, because I feel like I'd have to be in with higher ups in
Yeah.
whatever field. Because like I'm not saying any billionaire. I want someone in AI. Like I want to be
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I want to shake hands with like Mark, or I don't know, Sam Altman's a billionaire, or Chamath. Like I want tech motherfuckers to touch
Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
have that essence,
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
absorb it, absorb the knowledge. Um, but then after that, it's build a personal brand. So it's like I want maybe 10,000, 20,000 it was 10,000 is the number of like Instagram followers or any followers across all platforms. So
Mm-hmm.
10,000 people that follow
Okay.
me actively.
Proper.
Um, like average 10,000 views on like Motive even or like my personal page. Just at 10,000 influence
Yeah.
people that I influence. Then um so yeah, it's I had to get the capital, shake hands with somebody. Credibility wise, I do think that one of my goals is to have some sort of research paper or a recurrent blog post that I post. Like I want
Yeah.
following on a blog post specifically, people that follow like work. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of like actual things that I influence, I want some more tangible things. And that actually can include things like I want to pursue art. Um I still am super passionate about art, and I think that's actually like it runs in my veins. My dad's an artist. He has a sculpture in
Yeah.
Italy. I want to make something akin to that, and I've always been passionate about art. Um, so I want to be able to have some tangible following along with art, a blog post, writing, research. I want to be able to create things, and I want that to further establish my credibility. So it's publish and create 10 art pieces that took more than a week to make. Because I feel like I could pump out a bunch of art in like a day, but I want something that actually took me a week. So 10 things
Yeah.
that were
Do it for
long
the right
scale
reasons.
projects. Pardon?
You have to do it for the right reasons.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
not for
Like
the sake
like
of scale.
exactly. The reason I would do this is because like that's why I say at least a week because that would mean
Mm-hmm.
I was actually putting like meaning behind it. Like I'd very thought it out.
Yeah.
I could like pump out a bunch of random shit, but like it wouldn't necessarily be it might be contrived, so I don't want that to happen. So I want 10 like actual art pieces published. I want maybe I really want one research paper published. I want to be in research
That's the big
still.
one. That's the big one.
That is one of the biggest ones. And then my most important goal, the one that trumps everything else, is to have the startup, the Algor. I want to call it Algo, short for algorithm, because I think it's cutesy. But for now, yeah, for now just call it Algo. I want to create Algo. I want to be able to have that out and publish, and I want to be able to get my MVP done. I've already I know I'm pretty shit right now at PyTorch, but like I'm still going through the works of PyTorch, but I do best believe that by the end of the week I could have some sort of imitation model working to the least degree. But that would be still my goal that I made for the break. So I want to have this up and running um at any point in the year. I don't care when. I don't see it doesn't necessarily have to be in line with how I make my money because again, that still is just try to establish credibility. That would be even more towards a research project. Like if I were to do this, I could even use it as a research potential. So I think a lot of these tie in with each other. So my big goals are just essentially establish credibility, get influence, get a network, and get capital. Those are my three big goals. So
Good.
like we could elaborate on that. I mean, but I just want you to I want you to think like how what do you think about like the prospect of getting influence? Because that's been the most questionable thing. Like how do I establish a personal brand? And what do I want it to seem like?
Mm. Let's.
Also, okay, before you answer this question, I have one question. Do you watch these podcasts and do you look at it and think like, damn, I sound like an idiot? Because when I look at myself and I see the way I talk, I realize like, damn, I was so unaware of how I sounded like, and a lot of
Yeah.
like a lot of like flaws in the my
Well, you
my
sound much more professional today, and
because I
that's
watched
that's
I
why
watched it.
that's why I also like once you speak like that, I also try to watch the bros and dudes and
Yeah, and the
Gary Vee
cursing.
high pitch, yeah, the cursing, right? Every other second. Watching the last one, I was really like the thing is I wasn't surprised because I know how it works. I've dealt with this from like a young age because like I was always recording, so I knew right away that like basically I stopped really like I just like my mind automatically filters out like when I watch myself. There's no like emotion or like oh my god I sound like shit. Like my mind automatically filters it out, which is really interesting. Um,
Do you think it's a good thing though? Like, is it because you were just exposed
well,
to it that you're immune to
just
it, or do you still think like you're
just like
flawless?
everything, it's good for your emotions, but it's bad for your like
But
strategy.
do you think that you're
I
like
did
flawless?
change how I speak. Like I'm more conscious of it now after watching the last one, just because it was like it was super. Like it was super tight,
Well,
right? The last one was super
well, the
tight.
thing is, last episode was different. It was a little more casual and personal to us, and personal to the people we know. So I honestly I don't feel like it was a bad thing the way you spoke. Also, I want you to know that I think you speak perfectly, which
Oh,
is
thank you.
something that I wait, what'd you say?
I said thank you.
Oh, I thought you said you agree, and I was like, okay, well, that's good. That's good to know because you're like you sound super articulate and concise, and I'm just thinking like, damn, I have a lot of extra words, a lot of filler words, and often I notice that I'm like saying words that A don't make sense of the context, so it's like I'm trying to fit the word into my context, and B, I actually can't even pronounce these words, which is I think like. Well, I always blamed it on like a concussion. Ever since I got my concussion, I actually had been having a lot of trouble
Hmm.
speaking. And I'd had this before, like I also had a head injury before. You see even now, like I used to never have problems speaking, and it's actually like it's so embarrassing to like try to mutter out a word and it just doesn't work. And I just get like
Happens
I
to me
don't
all the
actually feel
time.
shame for it. Pardon?
Happens to me all the time. I think maybe when I'm around you, I'm a bit more comfortable. Like
Mm,
again, as I said, this was a very calming space right now. But
yeah, of course.
it's interesting, right? Because, well, for one thing, we could end this conversation with this is the way, right? Like I criticize myself, you criticize
Yeah,
yourself. This is why we get better, and it's fine. Like I don't cry about it.
absolutely.
So
It's really good.
this is
Like
the way.
honestly,
Like
I think I
constantly,
learned more about how I speak watching and editing the pod number four
of course.
than I'd
But that's
ever
what you
like
have to do. Like when
realized
you do
here.
presentations, like you watch them back, and then you realize what you did
Yeah, you're like,
wrong.
well,
And of course, our
wow.
conscious could do our conscious self, just like how it kind of developed without any sort of thought to it. Like, of course, it would never like consider how you're speaking. So
I
it's
like
something
it
that
though.
I'm aware of a lot. I think for one thing, I remember I once told Karis's mom that I don't have like vocabulary. It's funny. I tried to say that really fast because when I what I really wanted to say would take me a while to kind of put out. So but yeah, like I wish I was read more Thea sources if like that's basically what I mean. And she was like, "Oh, I actually thought you had like a very like diverse vocabulary," and I was like, "That's kind of surprised me." So again,
I
like
think that's
they
really derivative. I think when people say like, "Oh, you should have better vocabulary," unless it actually pertains to like
dude,
describing
if you don't
some
sound like
thick
Miss
emotion.
Metcalf, you're not that guy. Except you have to
Well,
talk
I
like
mean,
Miss Metcalf at 3x speed.
Miss Metcalf fucked with me heavy, so
Yeah, that's true. But again,
hey,
it's all
I
relative,
got that
right?
hit.
Like this is a stupute baseline, but like the thing is, bro, you have to
No,
understand
but
that
I want
when
to
we're
take
30,
a side point.
our vocabulary is going to be we're gonna be so articulate. It's gonna be great.
Yo, yeah, we should, bro. Yeah, read the sources. We should make that a goal. Like, say one word in the pod that we haven't said
Dude,
before.
it's natural. It's gonna happen. What do you think happens when you stop talking, when you elevate yourself from talking to people that you talk to on a daily basis
Yeah.
now and start talking in of course you're gonna be in business meetings like it's just natural.
No,
You pick
but
up the
that's the
vocab.
thing. I think like there's a limit to the vocabulary. Like you can say whatever, but I think it's actually a waste of everybody's time if you try to learn a word that nobody understands. And that's why I'm thinking like
True, true.
um yeah, because like nobody's gonna understand it, so there's no point of communicating. So I think words like nuance, which I learned via you and all in pod, and like other words like lucrative and frugal. Like those words are like words like that actually pertain to stuff that matters. Those are good. But things that are like things that I think are just words for the sake of using words could be like
Well, never,
I don't even
never,
know
never do
like
that.
yeah, but you know what I mean. There's words that are just that we just say that some people don't know, and that I even say that people just don't understand. They're like, oh, it's a fancy word, but that's just literally all signaling. And I think if you like signal that you have like a higher
It's
vocabulary,
never
you're
been
not
about
even
signaling for
getting the
me.
point.
It's just that
It doesn't
my
have to be
thoughts
about
are so
signaling, but
complex that I would like to be very specific in them, but it takes me hours, right, to really
what you just
I have to
said
connect on an
is
emotional level.
signaling. What you just said is
How?
signaling. My
It's the
thoughts are
truth.
so complex.
It's the truth though, because the thing is, I
Regardless if it's the truth,
it's not
it's not
effective. No, no,
effective
no, because
communication.
strategy require because good strategy has to be specific, right? It's not like in your personal life where shit's easy. Good business strategy or
Yes,
in any
you're
industry
right.
has to be
Good
specific.
strategy has to be specific, And the strategy to communicate concisely is an effective strategy to reach a broad amount of people.
Okay, and
If I
how do you communicate concisely? By finding bigger words that encapsulate like four.
I mean, like, yes, I'm not saying like it's an extreme. I'm not saying you talk like a layman and like have nothing to describe something that's proper. At that point, yeah, you're probably like you probably just sound like you don't understand. But like when people I guess what I'm saying is
Give
that
me an example.
if you go for the sake of trying to take big words, it takes away from the point of having big words. You know what I
True.
mean?
True.
Like saying something like
Yeah.
serendipity, not everybody understands serendipity means, but that's a perfect word because it makes so much sense. Like there's nothing else to describe serendipity, but if I say something
That's
that's
every word
like
though. Every big word has a very specific meaning. It's just that it might not be relevant because
you're
people
right.
around you don't know
All
what
I'm
the meaning
saying
is.
is you're right, but I'm just saying be careful as to not signal. Don't use big words for the sake of being. I'm not saying that you do it. I don't think you do it. I'm
I've been called
just to
out
be
on it before.
really. I don't think you do it. I think you actually are very concise.
Yeah,
So there's nothing to worry
that's the
about.
thing though, isn't it? There's levels to this shit. You say I don't think you do it, and yet there's people who don't know what serendipity means, right? There's people who don't know. Like
Yeah.
they say like, why are you signaling? And I'm like, and in my head I'm like, I genuinely didn't even consider the fact
Well,
that
then you're
a
doing
human
good.
wouldn't know
Then
what
you're
this
doing good
meant,
though.
right?
Then
As
you're right. You're good. You're doing
so
fine then
so it's
because
like
that means you're just on a different level, and that's not signaling. But I maybe I'm only saying it because sometimes I do it. So I actually
well,
signal. I
I
would
think I've done
say.
it too because the thing is right. Like I used to do it as a joke as well, right? So it's like, but
Yo,
then
it always starts like a joke,
But
and
then
then
you
you
don't
do
know
it
because if it's a
unironically.
joke and then you start doing it ironically and you don't think about doing it, but it just happens. That's like signaling indirectly, I guess.
Yeah,
So
Andrew Tate. That's Andrew Tate. I
right,
love that
exactly. Well,
guy.
that's the thing, right? When he first came out, we were all trying to talk memes,
Yeah.
and then you just start doing it. Look,
And then we started doing it too, and
look,
it just
look.
became
You're making a good point,
ironic.
but we're spending too much time on this. But yes, I agree.
Yeah,
Don't signal, be real.
real
All
shit,
right.
real shit.
Don't signal,
So
be real. But if you have to do some signaling in order to get to a higher point, that's just the trade-off you made. You'll lose some
no, but
friends, but you
this
lose
is
some
important
likability.
though.
But
This pertains to what we were talking about, which is what how to build influence. Like
okay, fair,
how
fair.
do we actually build like proper well, it's like it's all about marketing, right? And this is exemplary for what you want to do in your
Yeah, yeah,
in your
yeah. Well,
business.
right. So there's because the thing is, if you need to, the more you strategize it, the less real you become, and it's a weird trade-off because on one hand, you might have nothing to offer, in which case you have to be fake. However, if you do have something to
Mm.
offer, then it's going to take you a while to get traction, right? So it's like it's always a trade-off between what the owner wants
Wait,
and what are
why?
the
Why?
owner's
Why would it
priorities.
be harder for you to get
Because
traction if you have value?
because there are things that can get you popularity quickly, relatively speaking, that are not
Mm.
true to you, in which case you're signaling something that's not you. However, as you go more true to yourself, at the very
Mm.
best, it's going to take you much longer to gain that traction, just because you're not going to hop on a wave. However, your kind of likes will be more sustained, right? But
That's
at the same
exactly
time,
it.
you could just
That's
be a boring
exactly it.
person, in which case you're going to get no traction,
Yeah, yeah, you're
right? So
absolutely
it's
right.
like if you look at
I'm
like
glad you
Casey
touched on that
Neistat, if you look at Casey
because
Neistat, right?
yeah.
Like he's the best example, one of the best examples of somebody who is naturally loved in their own originality. And he happened to do artwork that is he called it art, as in it was truly art to him. And now everybody's videos look like him. Happy coincidence? I don't know, fucking know. But the point is, when you were talking, what occurred to me earlier is that if you go to Australia, you'll be the like I don't really know how to say it. Oh, I don't have the vocabulary to, I guess. But um essentially along the lines of you'll be like the researcher who is like more quirky, like they have their own kind of thing, right?
Mm.
Which I think people will see that much faster. And it could be interesting because the thing is, the way I see you is like as somebody very sophisticated. However, but we don't know how to work a camera or any of that shit, right? So it's like in order to
Yeah,
communicate that, you
yeah.
might do a lot of signaling for what you think you are. Now, if you go to San Francisco, you're you don't really have much differentiating yourself, in which case it's going to be even harder because now it really comes down to good like fucking direction and production, like the highest level of direction and production. Like how do you in San Francisco? Like this is the thing. I remember one time
Yo, but that's why it's
these
so important this year. This is the start. This is the foundation. If I can establish all those things within that year, it will be an unissue when I go back to San
no,
Francisco because when I get there, I'll already have credibility.
it's true, it's true, it's true.
My
The way
goal is
I
not to
see
get to
it,
San Francisco this year, but I
that's
should
good. That's
have
good.
the establishment to
That's
be
good.
able to go there and not start from scratch. And that
Yes.
was my push to go against America because I was afraid it would be too competitive. Because if that at that point, if I have nothing to offer, then I'd have a bigger community to compete with when I don't even have a starting place.
100%. It's a smart approach. So now it's a matter of how.
Mhm.
Again, I don't
Yeah.
know how to do like production, but
Yo, but like
you
look
know
look
the
at
the
look
way that
let's
I
look at Andrew Tate though. And it was important it was interesting that you
true,
brought
true.
up Casey Neistat because I would say in a sense, both of them were very true to themselves, but I would say more so Casey Neistat than Andrew Tate, only because we know that he was low-key goofing a little bit.
No,
He
high
was
key.
often
But he wanted to win, and somehow he connected. The thing is, just because he found an original character doesn't mean that character is truly him.
but I feel like that is interesting, right? Because that's the question I've been asking. Is it really him? Because there's some points where I watch the clips and like that's a character, but also like sometimes I feel like he's actually not even
You're
in
a
control of that
professional,
character.
John. 12-year-olds liking you and wanting to hang out with you does nothing for your career. Therefore, it's a little bit different. That's the thing,
Mhm.
right?
That's
He
true.
wants to get money directly. Okay? There's a
Yeah.
big difference, right? He wants to get money directly. You're trying to use this to indirectly help you, right? So you have to act
Mhm.
professional as you are, right? And
That's a
and
good point. That's
the
a good
thing
point.
is,
I
you're
don't
you're
want
you're you're, you're
12-year-olds
attracting. You have
necessarily
to attract the right
watching
audience,
Night.
right? Like like for me, it's even a little bit different, just like a tiny bit, I guess, because my audience, you know, potentially in the long term is like, let's say artists, right? Who, the major a lot of artists enter the industry very young, right? So and they are swayed a lot by like emotions.
Musicians, you mean
Yes,
artists.
musicians,
Yeah.
yes, of course, because they don't know much about the industry, so they're gonna see what's presented them as consumers, right? Investors are not consumers, right? It's a little bit different.
Mhm.
Like if you think about LinkedIn, that's like kind of the aura of what you're going for here.
I actually disagree. I do disagree. I think what I've been actually really adamant about I am really adamant about. I'm not saying I disagree with what you're saying. I say my goal is not to be excruciatingly professional. Actually, I would say it's the opposite of that. I think I've always been adamant about the destruction of labels. Um, I think we're in the age where it's the death of the expert and the professional, as you see with what happened
Absolutely,
during COVID,
absolutely.
especially. So
Your
I
resume
want
is
to
now literally just your whole life, 24/7,
exactly.
no
Exactly.
anonymity.
You're absolutely right. I want to establish myself and to have all of these things that I create, but they're just extensions of what I truly love. I
Yeah.
want to show people that all of these things are, I want to truly encapsulate the emergence of that death, the loss of the expert, because there's no such thing
Mm,
anymore as people who are uniquely like, oh, I'm just a
yeah.
scientist
You want
or
to
I'm
have
just
I like
this.
that. I like that. That's
I
that's
am
kind of
both an
motive, right? Because
artist.
we want everybody to be entertained in the same
Exactly.
place.
I'm both an artist, I'm both a businessman,
Yeah.
I'm both a human, I'm a lover, I'm a husband, I'm going
100%.
to be a businessman, a environmental worker. I want to be an advocate for all these things that encapsulate what I actually am passionate about. I want to go to Australia. I love rocks, I love geology. I want
Yeah.
to be able to incorporate that in
Yeah.
some sort of form in my
100%.
business. So the goal is actually to break down these professional labels, but also, maintaining professionalism to some degree. It's
Which is fine
essentially
because that's you anyways. It's just about
exactly.
how do you
It's being
execute it so
genuine.
that it gets captured. Because every
It's playing
time,
the game. It's playing the game. And I
in what
think
way?
the brand that I think best perfects what I'm trying to go for is Marquez Brownlee. He has the way he speaks is curated in such a unique way, and I know it's genuine to him, but you can see it that it's like I would say it's it is essentially the breakdown of professionalism with the essence of it still there. As in it's not crude and it's not like overtly friendly. However, you feel as though you're part of a genuine community. It's not like it's a neighborhood. It's more or less like a union. And that's sort of what I'd rather establish. I wouldn't want people Like I wouldn't want to have like a flurry of 12-year-olds pull up on me every time I walk to
Yo,
Loblaws or
you know
Walmart.
what?
But I do want people to come up to me and say, "Oh, I love the stuff that you do."
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I want to be able to have a
yeah.
community where there's
Notoriety.
mutual
Yeah,
respect,
right.
and the the attraction of more creatives.
It's
I want
proper.
to
Yeah, yeah,
establish
yeah,
that
yeah.
creatives
Yeah.
are supposed to come towards
100,
me.
100. I love that. I love that. It works.
Mhm.
It's really, yeah, I love that. You know, what's so interesting about Marcus Brownlee, what I just, because when you're talking about, I thought about Lex Friedman, except he doesn't actually, like, Lex Friedman talks as though he's like antisocial, but like the reality is like you see the touches, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what
you,
he's doing.
you know, low key, he's like, has a lot of hobbies, right? But,
Yeah,
um, yo, Marcus Brownlee, I just realized is actually the most perfect analogy to what we're trying to achieve with a lot of what we're doing because I remember
yeah,
watching YouTube, like I was like watching tech YouTube like as a kid, like when it was like super young and it
yeah,
was super
bro.
competitive, right? There was a
Yeah.
shit ton and they all had 200K
I just
subscribers,
seen
right? Yo,
unbox. What is it? What was the
bro, those were the
unboxing at?
big ones though. Like they were like tiny ones and
Yeah,
they were all at like let's say like 200K subscribers. And what's super interesting is Marcus Brownlee went mainstream and yet somehow he's exactly the same as all like you know what I'm saying? Like I just realized
yeah,
Marcus Brownlee is the only guy who will post an iPhone unboxing video, which goes on the top YouTube hits. At
yeah.
the same time, however, as you said, he's not gonna have anybody storm him. He just gets mutual respect. That's extremely interesting because again, what happened here is he connected his industry to the mainstream while not selling out, basically, while not being
Exactly.
while not being a
I'm not
doofus,
trying to be Mr.
because
Beast, but I'm
nobody
not trying
else.
to be that nobody, you know. I'm trying to be
It's
a
interesting.
leader in the
This is
community.
underrated. This is underrated.
It
Marcus
is. It is
Brownlee, I'll
absolutely.
say it again. He connected his niche industry to the mainstream without looking like a doofus. Because who
Exactly.
the
Yes,
fuck
you're
cares
so
about
right.
iPhone unboxings, bro? How the fuck's
Nope.
that shit have
Well,
10
yeah,
million
nobody,
views?
but
And it's like 10 minutes. And it's like 10 minutes, right? It's not like a TikTok.
yeah, it's a full
So
video, and
yeah.
that's
So
the brand I'm trying
actually,
to go for.
no, that's
He's
proper. That's
really
proper.
exactly. He's really achieved that, and I've been analyzing a lot of his videos. I've actually been analyzing like all the YouTube content that I've been consuming lately, on how they structure their brand,
Hmm.
and it really is like it really is just getting that genuineness, but maintaining that professionalism. And it's not being
Yeah.
a professional, so to say. It's not like you're trying to act like you're an expert. It's having a conversation, and that's what's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
It's it's that really human aspect. They're maintaining that human aspect that can apply to a broad variety of people. Because you see that difference between like streamers and and Marquez Brownlee, where they establish parasocial relationships. And that's not something I want at all. I don't
Interesting.
want a parasocial because like I couldn't say that Marquez Brownlee is like my homeboy. You know what I mean? Like if I consumed a lot of Marquez Brownlee content, I would be like, "Yo, Marquez, you're my boy. I love you. Pull up." I would still rate him if I saw him, and I would still say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to meet you."
He's somehow
However,
private and public at the same time.
exactly. But if you look at those streamers, like let's say I watched like Ludwig or XQC for like a million hours a day,
No, yeah, you'd
the
want to
way
dap them
that
up in
they
the
establish
street.
it, pardon?
You'd want to dap them up in the street, which they complain
Yeah,
about.
you'd be like, yo, I see you every day, you're my boy. Yo, I saw what you did last night. Oh, that shorty or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you'd
yeah.
treat them like a friend. That's the
Interesting,
idea of
interesting.
parasocial relationships. And Ludwig actually, I'm glad I brought it up. He made a great video about that, talking about parasocial relationships. He's like, I'm not your friend. He literally said, like, I'm not your friend, guys. I don't know you. You guys come up to me and it's honestly uncomfortable because I don't know if you're gonna stab me or like, give me a hug. Like it's
And
uncomfortable.
it's such an
And
unfortunate position to
entertainment,
be in because by doing that, that's because
exactly.
that's your whole leverage. Like that's your whole value.
And that's how they survive. And but they don't have to. And I think I don't have to either. I don't have to attract that level of virality to be successful. I just have to have that genuineness, that authenticity. That's what I want to go for. And I think that it'll just be a result of being a compassionate person, a genuine person. I think Gary Vee is also a great example of how he does it because like, well, how self-help gurus are a little bit different because like, well, no, Jordan Peterson would be a better example because I wouldn't bum rush him on the street, but if I saw him, I'd be super thankful
Jordan
and I would
Peterson
have that
also
mutual
wears
respect.
clothes that kind of like his clothing, his age,
Yeah, his aura is different. His aura
yeah,
is a
and
lot
like the
different.
words he uses, and the fact that he literally says like, "Oh, this is big boy talk." right? Like
No,
you
but
couldn't
I'm
signal more
sure
than that.
though some people still treat him though like his their daddy essentially. Because I've seen the man cry. I've seen him become extra
The thing is,
vulnerable, and that's
if you had
super
like,
commendable. It's super great.
it's true, interesting. Yo, the thing is, I guess with self-help gurus, sometimes people are just like so like people just like they just like are so thankful like emotionally.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a
That's
tougher one.
interesting though.
It's a bit of a different one.
I don't want to be necessarily a self-help guru. I'd
But
rather
yet
be
you
closer to
will,
what Naval is.
unless. Mm.
I'd rather be what Naval is instead of what Jordan Peterson is, even though Jordan Peterson himself is one
Yo,
of the most valuable people I
I
think is
think
on the market right now.
yo, what I'm about to say is like super meta, whatever the fuck that means. So it's like sort of irrelevant and like not that wise, but maybe also.
Let's hear it.
You're saying like you want to be like you already know where it's going. You're saying like I don't want to be like this person, I want to be like this person. You will evolve into your own unique personality, and it will, you know,
I'll become him,
hope
essentially.
you're gonna have your own uniqueness. The point is, it's like in the social network where they're like we're trying to put ads, we don't even know what it is yet. Like it's 11 p.m. and you're trying to kick people out of the party, like you don't even know what the party is yet. Like same thing. Like
Yeah.
so, actually, obviously, it's good to strategize.
Mhm.
Now I sound like a bitch. The point is like we all know
No, you
that
don't.
we're going to do these things because you're really analyzing it, which I think you're getting some proper conclusions here.
Mhm.
But
I am, and
all I
I
know is that
appreciate
it'll
your
be
help
a
with that.
long term thing. Like because when you look at Casey Neistat, long term rise, and the thing is, bro, like he's an artist really. So it's like I think he's probably like a genius level artist, frankly. So um,
That's it though. You
that's
wanna
his work.
My
But
purpose is
Marquez is a long term, like a long term game. Gary Vee is
I
like
would
a
say though
really long term
Marquez
rise.
is an artist as well. And
Yeah,
that's what you want to encapsulate. It's I think the reason why all these people are experts considered in their own respective fields is that they have that sense of mastery that nobody else seems to have. And that's why he beat
yeah,
I Just Seen
interesting.
and the unboxing channels, whatever, because his knowledge and his understanding to that was A, more valuable than all of it. And the way he presented it was a lot more artistic than all these other people. And I noticed it in the finest details. Like it was his I think it was in his like he was his 2022 iPhone reviews, like his phone awards. Um I'm sure some people have watched it, but basically like it was literally just the way he was recording his video. He was like recording a car with one of his iPhones. He's like the iPhone 14 by far is still the best camera. Spoiler alert, sorry. And then he was filming his thing and it was like this. Like he was filming himself like this and then he's so like it was so seamless the way he transitioned. His car is behind him. He transitioned by moving, like he moved his head around and it was like the phone didn't move and it was like a seamless transition of him showing himself to the car and
Mm,
the little details like that just showed how masterful he is in videography and in in actual presenting like the
yeah,
technology itself,
yeah.
and it was super impressive, and that's
Im-
probably how he did it. So when I
Important to
structure
note.
this, I want to have that mastery. I want to have that same level of mastery and express it and fully fully unleash my creative abilities. That's what essentially these people are able to do.
Yo, based on a lot of what, like, I think the most kind of sold understandings of successful people, the most public ones, are, people achieving great mastery in something that they're passionate about to
Mhm.
their core. So there's a difference between strategy, between like tactical strategy and that on top of deep passion. Because, like anybody who watched Marquez for a while, like let's say back in the day, knows that he loves cinematography. And the thing is
Yeah.
that like I remember it's interesting, right? Because as well, people will hate, and then it turns out to work out. Like back when I was watching it, I was always like interested because I'm like, it occurs to me that these YouTubers could film on iPhones. They spend like 40K on equipment just because that's their hobby. Like they just because they want to, right? So
Yeah.
of course
But
I was
he
dead
films on
wrong.
iPhone.
I was dead wrong. However, at the same time, maybe I was sort of right in the sense that maybe it wasn't a strategy. It was him. So whatever. It doesn't matter why it worked. But the point is, he is completely obsessed with cinematography and with cameras and shit, and that's just what he would like. Like the way I saw it is like, okay, like you have all this money, like now you're trying to fucking buy cameras because that's what you love, right? So, well, ironic that he ended up doing shit like that. Like it's not necessarily sole strategy, right? So the thing is, if the more you are obsessed with it to the core of what it is, the more success you will reach. Like I might be obsessed with getting my image just right and just truthful to myself while also having spark, right? But at the end of the day, I'm always gonna be relying on other people, you know?
Mhm.
Like
What do
like
you mean? What do you mean? Relying on other people to what?
because I
Carry your
don't
brand.
love cameras like Marquez does.
Oh, you mean like yeah, building something
I
like
don't
that.
care about this angle from a technical standpoint. I only care about it if it's cool, you know?
Yeah.
Like Conor
And that
McGregor said, he was asked, are you why do you think um you're so good at the sport or you get so much success? And he literally was like, I don't know. And then he said, I think it's just that I'm curious about it. Dude, this is the
mhm.
weirdest thing. He was asked why he's so successful, and he literally said, you know, I don't really know. I think it's just because I'm curious about it. And then he said something along the lines of, like, I'm just curious
That's
about,
fine.
what can be done, which is interesting because obviously he's still outworking everybody at this, period of time, right? So you can start
Yeah,
there,
Godspeed
but
to his
like that's
recovery
so
on his ankle.
that's so next, like that's just a different level of
That's
passion where you're literally like, dude, I don't really know. I'm just curious as
that's
to
who you're
what
competing
can be
with,
achieved.
essentially.
That's
That's
what
the
you're
kind of
competing with. This guy is literally
like when
like,
you're
bro,
in these
like
industries,
I don't even care
you're
about fighting.
competing with these
I
kind of people.
I don't even care about fighting. I'm just like, shit, bro. Like what could happen? To,
Yeah.
which is super easy to envision in a sport, right? Like especially in fighting because it's just you. It's
Well,
your
that's
body. It's
that's
like,
an interesting point to make though. If that's the case where you're only doing it for the sake of doing it, should you even be doing it? If you're only going to film, I mean, okay, actually, never mind. This doesn't really pertain to something like recording like memories and such. I think that's good. But like if you're trying to do
yeah,
something that you're trying to bring value with it, but you're doing it just for the sake of doing it, should you even be doing it? For example, the example I was going to use was you're going to film your 6 days to success, 365 to get to the first mill or whatever to get your goals this year. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I think you should still do
yeah,
it. But if you truly want to succeed in that and you don't have any actual personal connection to that, what value is it to do it on this kind of platform that you're doing it on? Because if you're not going to make it, if you're not in love with the cinematography, if you're not in love with making incredible videos, experiences for these people, and you're not
yeah,
involved in trying to make crazy like a lot of spending a lot of time on it essentially, is it a waste of your time? Maybe you should be doing like a TikTok recap every day, or like
yeah,
maybe you should be like trying to make it into something you actually do enjoy, because I'm sure there's other ways where you can encapsulate it. I'm not saying you don't, like maybe you still super enjoy it,
yeah.
but like regarding things like building brands, and as we've been discussing, that authenticity is the key about actually having something that is true to yourself, but also something that's credible and something that doesn't seem like you're selling
Yeah.
your soul. Because if you hate it, you're not gonna do it. You know what I mean? Will you hate recording more than 100 days of you just grinding, or like couple thousand hours of
I
you
mean,
grinding?
I'm sure I won't enjoy a lot of it, just as Marquez does not enjoy a lot of it, just as McGregor doesn't enjoy a
Mhm.
lot of it. But what's really interesting is that you like for your purposes, you want to have tangible results. It's interesting because you're curious
Absolutely.
about the money part, whereas I'm curious about the image part, right? Because my thing is like, yo, I need to get them, and it's weird, right? Because as soon as you set the goal, it's like shit, now I have to achieve it, right? Me, I actually didn't set any goals for viewership because for me, I'm like, since I know that I have to be true to myself in my image, if it gets no views, in some of the sense, I am just curious about it. Like
Mm.
I understand that I'm slowly building up my own personal brand, but I also understand that it's such a long-term thing that will get molded into something, special
That's
and very
interesting.
productive for
That's
me.
interesting.
Is that like for me, like this is just a part, just like with the posters. I'm, in a lot of ways, sense it's not making sense, right? Which, we'll see what happens. But when I did start it, it was like, okay, like
That's
this
actually a
seems
really
like there's
good
a low
point to
enough
make. That's
barrier.
a really good point
And
to make.
same thing with this where I'm like, you know what? Like this seems like a thing where it's like I just talk and I can have something to show and we'll see, maybe yes, maybe no. At worst case scenario, once I do have a fucking content brand build it up because I put a lot of effort into it, aka let's say sold my soul for it. Worst case scenario, it'll just be more shit, right, to look back on. Best case scenario, there's value even in this, right? So in somewhat of a sense, I am just curious about it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really interesting point that you make.
Curious but
Like,
not
you
dedicated,
don't
essentially.
you don't care about, yeah, exactly. You don't care about the viewerships, um, which is good. That's actually really good because you're, like as you said, you're staying true to yourself. The reason I set the goals to myself is that I think that if I don't have things that I tangibly reach, like if I don't have things that I actually accomplish, and I don't have goals for that, I wouldn't accomplish them, and I wouldn't put as much effort into that. Because for
Of
me,
course.
I want to be able to compare myself between certain eras. Because you're right, it is a scary line to tread, and it's good that you brought it up because you brought my attention to it. If I go about achieving my goals and all of these goals for that matter, just for the sake of achieving these goals, then I would have already failed on establishing any of them in the first
You're
place.
not an
Because,
artist.
like, well, I would say, yeah, you wouldn't be an artist if you do this. I would say I am though, and I think because of that, it wouldn't be hard for me to achieve these things because it's just a metric of how proportionally I put effort into these things. I
Yeah.
don't think because the thing is, regardless of what actually happens, I will still put all my effort into it, and that's what's important. I won't care by the end of the year if I don't have any of these goals accomplished and I still stayed true to myself. There's sure would be a part of me that'd be disappointed. But if I know that again, I was true to myself and I still was as hardworking and as smart working and as less ignorant as I tried to be, then I would be okay. And that's the point. The point is when you build up to these things, you have all these goals and these metrics that you want to accomplish. And these are good metrics to have because you can speak about them, you can relate them to yourself, and you can see how your progress is going. But won't you also won't have the risk of being disingenuous.
Yeah.
And if you make sure that you maintain that authenticity across your progression, then you'll be fine. If I continue to push out art, if I start making like I'm doing a lot of Blender side projects
Yeah.
that I have yet to post it because I just simply have always loved art. I love creating like environments and having stories behind certain imagery. I'm always been
Yeah.
passionate about that. Miss Metcalf showed that to me especially. I'm super passionate about literature and imagery, symbolism. Um, and I want to be able to push stuff like that out. So if I make like an art page, I wouldn't care necessarily if I didn't get a million likes on them. But if I knew that I put a lot of effort into every single thing, then I'd be okay because I made that. If I put all the effort into making a really good research paper based on the work that I've been doing to create
Yeah.
my startup, then I'd be really passionate about that. And I wouldn't care if it didn't get a million citations or 100 citations because I would have put the effort into it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the thing is, I think it though, for both of us, I think we've crossed that barrier now. I think it isn't really a question of being disingenuous. Do you know what I mean? Like, I honestly think that as self-aware that we are, not to seem arrogant, I just think that truly we would avoid that to begin with. Like, I don't think we would care for the fame, and I don't care for the fame. I don't care for the status or the
Bro, for
signaling
all
of
you
it.
know, avoid it. Like, like, you know,
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's exactly, yeah, literally avoid the fame, avoid that. You
like,
don't even want
no,
it.
like, as I kind of said, like originally, like, well, it was funny because I realized that the materialization of what in my head I've always wanted is I just want to be in the minds of people with influence, right? Which is a little bit
Mhm.
different than fame. Like, so it's like
That's
the
yeah,
goal
exactly.
really
That's
is to gain
respect. It's respect.
is to gain respect. Yeah, respect, and also, frankly, respect from the right people. So
Hmm.
from the top, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
not to hate on the
fame.
12-year-olds. I would love to the 12-year-olds to like me if they wanted to become billionaires as well. But it's the saying goes that I'm not marketing towards them. I'm not trying to be Mr. Beast. I'm trying to be Marquez. I'm trying to be Sam.
Because I said you're a researcher, right? Like I'm a manager. Like we're not. This isn't our job. It's just we're
Yeah,
curious about what could happen. And like for example, like bro, there's a thing, right?
absolutely.
There's a thing, right, where it's like the origination of this as well was like where I would just like live out experiences, and I'd be like, this is so sick. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
if I
right.
retell the story, I just sound like a fucking dick, you know?
But who cares, because like it's our experience.
So I'm like, right, and I'm sure everybody experiences shit as maybe people experience shit as well, which is crazy. But
And that's good.
I'm like at the
That's
same
good.
time, like, yo, like if we record this, like maybe you could get some traction, right? Like good things could happen. So on one
Yeah.
hand, I'm like, yo, you
Just like
know what?
motive.
Like I feel like, look, if nobody's ever seen the perspective of like a person managing the top acts on earth. You have, like 50,000, 60,000 people in a venue, right? And we're just going through the process of this. Like, people haven't really seen that perspective at scale. There's some shit
Mm.
of this, right? But it's like, look, if I do that, but then at the same time, like, I am who I am, and I'm living out this crazy
Oh,
life, right? Right. So it's like, right. So when you say the idea and you feel it emotionally, right? Because the vocabulary isn't
that's
there to really
fire.
explain it
Nah,
concisely,
that's
right?
fire.
Right. So it's like, look, like the outcome could be fire. This is the starting point, right? So I said 2023. What I was gonna say is 2023 is the year of content. It's like look, we know that your resume is always happening. We know that we are good employees. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like the point is, we know that we have a lot of value to bring. So it's like
Absolutely.
we have like I'm trying to formulate that, but I'm also not putting my own to it because, as you said, like I'm not Mr. Beast. Like I'm still like a
Yeah.
manager, right? So it's like,
Mhm.
so
That's actually crazy what you just said. I'm not that actually like just hit me with a flurry of emotions and thoughts. You said yo like I'm a manager. What's different about you is that you're just saying I want to be a manager that's filming my way up here, trying to show you how I got to this position, but also try to really bring a community about that. And that's interesting. I want to show the world something they've never seen before. And the
mm,
first thought that came to my
mm,
head was that we live in a time that is still possible. And that just came like this is a side thing that
sure,
came from a different level of gratitude where like like part of my my journey is I want to extend human life.
yeah,
And through that, it could be via biology or AI and uploading your consciousness. But the what came before that was the fear of not being able to live forever. And the
right,
thing is, over time, if let's say everybody lived forever, at some point, if there is like a limit amount of characters that can be like viral and like actually publicized, at some point, if you live forever, you would have seen every single one of those famous characters exist through time. So, in that sense, I just felt enormous gratitude and hope that the people that we're trying to portray, the characters that we're trying to bring to the world, who we are,
yeah.
hasn't existed yet.
That's
And
really interesting. That's really
that
interesting
is really great. That feels really good because it's
because
like nobody exists so far where they're like both a researcher and an artist. Nobody has really combined science and art to the
okay,
same degree that I plan to do.
number
And
one,
nobody has brought in the experiences that you want to bring
absolutely.
and all the okay, I'll just let you go. What were you gonna
Number one,
say?
first of all, you will connect with the people who have because they'll see you and they'll connect you, right? However, more
Hmm.
importantly, this is sick to what you said because you said that you'll live to a point where you have seen everybody, right? But the thing
Yeah.
is, you won't because there's always another because that's the only thing that it can really be differentiated, which is just like different consciousnesses, right? Okay, interesting. Creators are huge and like increasing in popularity, right? As less and less product ideas are around, right? Because when I think about like a Steve Jobs era, like a typical thing would be like our like you said, you want to show the world something new, right? Like they showed the world something new with an iMac, right? Or like with a
Hmm.
Macintosh, right? Okay, there's more and more products. It's like, what the fuck do I do? Like I have my phone or whatever. Like, what the fuck else do I need? I need another life that I will never experience, which isn't actually bad, right? Like for example, movies,
Hmm.
right? You're experiencing something that you yourself would never experience. Okay, here's the deal. There's just differentiations, right? Because even if somebody's top, right, they just still specialize, right, in their own experience, but they could just dive in to somebody else's unique experience. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
again, as there are less and less, like there are less and less products because phones basically do everything. There's more and more creators. That could also be a reason as to why literally billionaires are saying creator economy this, creator economy that.
Damn, bro. Like
and
that's
and the tools to capture your life are just increasing. Like if you look like
yo
Abdusar
and
from SRB, right? Like they're literally working. Their whole point is to create the tools
mhm.
that can capture life in more realistic forms, like VR and shit, right? But easily
What's
for consumers.
what I think is what's most valuable of stuff that exists like that, which are essentially like hybrids or like joining communities, is
Yeah.
that we bring perspectives of both parties and combine them
Mm.
together, which essentially in theory, I don't know what this actually means, but what I think is that for someone like what I want to do, which is like I really am in love with art and I'm really in love with the understanding and knowledge in science. I'm a man of science and I'm an artist. If I'm both of those things, and my platform is based on that, I could essentially create an outlet between those two communities,
Yeah.
embodying art and both science in the same circumstances, which is it's like a connector between the two communities. That's why said it would be finite, the amount of people that could be essentially viral, because those limited connections, I think, it will reach a point where there's no more new people to bridge different communities.
Mm.
And I think that's what's super important about like these revolutionary people. Like you look at like Andrew Tate, and he bridges like the gap between like very well, same thing with Jordan Peterson even. I think they both do the same thing where they bring value and inspire disavalued men that have been prejudiced by the current postmodernist political agenda, and with that like business and prosperity, they combine people who are like both like super high level mindset like Andrew Tate already with people who don't have that yet. They establish
Yeah.
like a connection between like the ultra wealthy and the absolutely not
Interesting.
wealthy.
Interesting.
It is
Very
their
interesting.
business model for that to happen, and that could
Yeah.
also be our
Yeah.
business model as well, which is an interesting thought
Well,
as well.
the course will come later, but like, you know.
The brilliant.org advertisement is gonna come. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, it'll come. It'll come. That's a very interesting point. That is their business model. Yeah.
So, but like, I mean, a lot of these things tie in together, but I think the most powerful thing is just like being able to be that sort of that bridge between a lot of communities. I think that's what brings a lot of these people leverage. Like if you look at like even Marquez Brownlee, you could have the argument that it bridged a lot of people who like indulged in like fine hard tech and like just innovation and cinematography and love for like displaying art. Like he loves cameras and he talks primarily about cameras. Talks a lot about cinematography, photography, etc. And it also combines that with like the actual hardware specs of that. And people who are invested in like technology, like Apple and whatever, they could also be
Sure.
interested again,
Interesting.
they could be inspired by that thing. And that's the point. It's all about
Yeah.
creating these values and they embody themselves in a bunch of different ways. For example, he could make people inspired to do more videos and it's certainly inspired me when I saw like all the fine detail he put into that stuff.
Hmm.
It's about being inspirational, about being impactful, while also being so genuine that you pull the humanity out of whatever you're doing, out of whatever industry it's doing. You
Mm.
take all that
Mm.
professionalism and take the soul out of it
Bro,
and
quote
make sure
that.
it's still alive.
That's a good
It's
one.
like, you have a fire and you're putting all the kindling in front of it, and professionalism and
Yo.
all this multimedia censoring essentially. They fucking put the cloth above it and
You take the
suffocate
human,
that
yeah,
fire.
whatever industry you go into, pull the humanity out of it. Wow.
Exactly.
That
That,
sounds like a true like guru statement, right? Well, because it
that's the
literally
goal
applies to
though.
every single industry, right?
It really
Potentially,
does.
right?
Well, it does though,
Interesting.
because like it does in this new age, because we're going in the sense where it's like we're promoting individuation at
Well, that's what we're
scale.
trying to do with
We're
tech, though, right? Like we want interactive
exactly.
websites, we want AGI, right?
Yeah.
Like we want it to be much more like chatbots, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Like we
Like we want it
want
to be more human.
individuals, we want humans, we want creatives, we want people to come out there and be empowered by these tools, by these influencers. Influencers come out because they want to really push a face on these communities. They want to be an advocate for these values and they want to
Yeah,
centralize a lot of these ideas and they want to inspire more people to pull out and join their side. So essentially, like that's why I think the influence is becoming more and more important. The humanity is being pulled out of it, and that's a really beautiful thing. That's why I think, and like people talk shit about the American TikTok and say it's so like sexual and contrived and whatever. It's really condemning and whatever. That all that is true, but a lot of I think the content on TikTok is still also high quality, just like anywhere on YouTube or an Instagram or whatever. But what I saw a lot is that a lot of these people were able to relate to each other on a more like personal level. Like you see Hank Green, he completely rebranded himself. By the way, he was like super professional. I mean, to an
who's that?
extent, he was still really humane. But Hank Green, I mean, if you study for any science class, you probably have heard of him. He's like the guy who does SciShow and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Vlog
yeah, yeah.
Brothers, yeah, Vlog Brothers as well. Like him and John Green. They did
Yeah, no, I know what it is. Yeah.
yeah, like VidCon. Those boys. Hank Green rebranded himself from like super professional science guy to like a really like personal and like a human, you know? Like he on TikTok, he really like set up a platform for himself to be like a really personal person. Um and I guess that's sort of like a parasocial relationship to some extent, but regardless, it still felt a lot more humane. And that's the thing. It's like a fine line between that professionalism and that human authenticity, bringing that together closely so that you're not like, you're not overtly crude or too personal, but you're also not, smothering the flame of the human soul. You're essentially just trying to make it so that you're genuine and you're getting to the point and you're making sure that this is a platform for people to embrace the same ideas. And that's what these influencers are doing. So, I think in building a brand, in summary, we want to have we want to establish authenticity. We want to bring that mastery out of us, and we want to put the soul into what we do, truly. And that's
Yeah.
honestly nothing new. That's what artisans and
Of
craftsmen
course.
have
Of
been
course.
doing their entire life. That's what humans have been doing. You see these masters at work, they don't care about the status, they just care about the craft. As you said, as McGregor said, they're curious about what they do. And so we just got to maintain that.
Yeah.
So I say, I mean, do you have any final thoughts about that? I want to move on to like
Yo, like the number one
goals.
takeaway and the answer to how to do this is not clear, but it has to be like your thing about how you want the relationship to be a respect one rather than a parasocial one is a
Mm,
crazy important thought, and like it's the hardest thing to do, right? Because
yeah.
I see it as well. Like, yeah, like okay, like I want it to be like to the point where like yo, like if you're not like even think about like what's his name? Like one of those like the investor guy who YouTubes, right? It's sort of like,
Yeah.
yo, like if you're not like a startup founder or whatever, like don't come up and talk to me. Like what the fuck you gonna say to me? Like, it's like a bit overt, right? But the point is like for me is like
No, but like
so it's the
it's
thing. Like
true
yo,
because you have to
like
have
if you're
respect.
not in the
Like you
industry,
wouldn't
like
you wouldn't go up to Conor McGregor. Frankly, if I saw him in the street, I might say hey from a distance, but I'd low-key still be scared. Like I don't know him personally, and I
it's true,
respect
don't
him,
act
and I would
out. Or like bro, like Khabib, bro. Like like
yeah, like
right? So
yeah,
so
like what are you gonna
it's
do?
interesting, right? Because that's like the other extreme end of that, and it's not just for like a like a personal lifestyle thing where like it's just like annoying, right? And like
Oh
dangerous.
yeah.
But no, like you're right. Like ideally, if you're that guy, that's the image that you want. That's what you want people to feel. You
Mhm.
would rather people be like yo, like heavy respect, but like can I even dap you up right now? Like I don't know. Like
You want to be?
that's
I was gonna
interesting.
say you want to be. Actually, no. I was gonna say musician, but I don't think there's a single example where a musician's tangible. But you
No,
could say
it's all
like,
parasocial though, because the thing is,
mhm.
it's so much easier. That's why what you're saying is so hard to do because the
Yo,
thing
but
is,
wait.
the
That's
whole industry
interesting
is built
though.
on
Why? Do you
only like
think
Kendrick
is it
Lamar.
true that all? Oh, yeah,
No,
Kendrick
because
Lamar.
I'm pretty sure somebody said it might have been Drake. Like I don't know. I'm not gonna necessarily quote him, but there was a thing where it's like Drake has a problem because like where it could be like Loki jealous of Kendrick and J Cole because they're on the
You're
same
right.
level,
You're right.
and yet Kendrick and Cole go on tour, put out an album, and go live their life, and Drake has to constantly be in the media, which is right. So and it's like
Yeah.
so it so you see that now. Of
No, that's
course,
actually
if anybody
insane.
asks like, "Yo, who's the artist?" Like, it's no question, right? Everybody be like, "Well, it's Kendrick and Cole, right?" So
Hi, Cal. Hold on, we got a cameo from my wife.
it's a hello,
Uh, Sorry, I forgot
welcome.
it's Sunday.
No, it's
Is it
okay.
Sunday?
Yeah, it's Sunday.
Oh man. Okay, I was just trying to cure my boredom, but
Just tune in.
whatever.
Watch Motive dot Motive Pod dot at twitch.tv, and then at MOTV POD on Twitch, and MOTV World WORLD on YouTube.
Oh,
Go
okay.
follow, like, and subscribe.
Bro just sold out in
Thank
two
you
seconds right after
for
talking about
that.
everything.
Thank you,
Okay,
guys.
I love you, baby. I'll see you later.
That's
Anyways,
crazy.
so no, but like yeah, I was gonna say, I think you knew what I was gonna say. I was gonna say like, are all musicians parasocial? But there
No,
aren't
not all.
because you're right. They aren't. J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar, I wouldn't go up to them and be like, "Oh my God, oh my God." I'd have so much respect for them.
But they're also
But low
incredible
key,
musicians, though. So,
exactly,
so
they're
it's like
masters of the craft.
that's kind of like that's not exactly an answer because it's like if you're trying to play the
Yeah,
but that's the thing at the same time, right? We're not trying to play the game of this. Like, bro, if I'm a fucking famous YouTuber, like,
we're
okay,
not playing status
I
games.
guess I'll get my
We're not
money,
playing
which is like
status games.
I'll be happy
We're
about that.
playing we're playing we're playing like
Well,
actual games. We're not playing like silly little superficial games. We're playing mastery games, and that's the difference. I mean, the thing is, Drake is a master, and so is Kanye, both masters of the craft. Actually, I would have a lot of respect for Kanye, unless he like, despite all what he had in the media, like I wouldn't
I
go
would
up to
have
him
respect for
anyway.
both of them either way, but I feel like that's like a little bit different. Like we never idolize celebrities in the first place, right? So it's like
Exactly, but like the cases for Drake and Kanye is that they were also super heavily influenced by the media. So like I like it would low key be more of a parasocial relationship, but it would also be like what the point I was gonna go with though is that what's the limit to how emotional and vulnerable you get with your audience, um, and before you get into a parasocial relationship? Because you notice for like all these other Bomba Clot! Yo, sorry. Oh, I will take Freddie. So, okay, so Freddie, Cheval, James, and Michelle were at my house, and they went to Zach's Diner, and they got me a
oh
milkshake.
yeah,
Shout out to Freddie.
oh
Shout out
that's
to
great.
Bread Monroe. Big W.
Sorry,
Anyways,
freshman row.
but yeah, like, is there a limit? Like, what point is how personal you get between your audience that
I
you
don't know if
become a
it's that. I think it
parasocial
might be the
relationship?
medium. Like Twitch has a rep at this point for just like you know, whereas like the thing is, J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar have very deep songs, but
Yeah,
like they're much more open with their audience. Frankly, they're much more deep with their audience than Drake. Like he just like a lot of stuff that he says like low key memes, right? So it's like
mm.
and it's like people are like yeah, but like is it really that deep? Like okay, another fucking relationship or whatever.
Yeah, but like,
Like
is it? But like, I that's why I think it wouldn't necessarily be parasocial. You're right, absolutely. The media has
it's
a
about
huge
the man.
factor.
I don't think it's about the man. I don't know if it's necessarily about the words. Like it's about the man. Could be.
Honestly, though, the more I think about it, I feel like it's more just like a fact of like mental incomprehension by the viewer. Because like if you are so disillusioned to believe that like this boy is your friend, well, I mean, actually no,
It's
that was
about the
actually
age. It's about the age as well.
yeah. I feel like there's a lot of factors that play into it, but like purely talking about from like the artist's perspective, is it like proportional to how vulnerable you become with your audience to how much parasocial relationships people develop with you? Like,
I
do you
don't know
think
definitively, and I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm going down the yes path. If I have to think about some examples, like in their music,
like let's say
I
Twitch is a good example.
I don't think
Like,
it. I don't. If I look at evidence, I don't think music wise, like just through the music, I don't think that's the case because I think like a lot of people will say, "Oh, I really related to your music," but they wouldn't. That wouldn't like when I think of a fan saying, when I think of a fan talking to an artist saying, I really loved your music, like it was like so relatable and like it really like helped me through some tough times or whatever." And then I think of the phrase like you're my homie or like I feel really close to you. Like I actually don't really see those two sentences going together in somebody, right? I think it has
yeah,
to.
I see what you
I
mean.
think music does have that kind of edge, and it's funny because one of the execs for like YouTube Music, I forget his name, but he was big in bringing up hip hop. He was talking about how like, and of course it's with his incentives and whatnot, but he was like complaining, saying like we can't keep expecting musicians to be content creators. Like this is what TikTok has done. Like musicians need to be able to just write their music and like focus on that. Like we can't. They're not content creators, which is an interesting. But that it just occurred to me because that's basically sort of what I said, which is music is different.
Bro, that's
But again, when musicians don't have the skill, they go down the content creation path, like
yeah,
like just
exactly.
like Disney did back in the day, right? Like those people weren't really that great. I mean, they're also really young, so like it's not necessarily their fault. But
This stems from the question though, like you're absolutely right. And it stems from the question that like how vulnerable should one get with their audience? That's the question. Like, because J. Cole and Kendrick do get like quite vulnerable, but I would say Kendrick more so in a more abstract way. So he actually doesn't get up and personal because he's just such an incredible artist. Um, but Kendrick, I mean Cole, he his art actually, and especially in his earlier works, was
Yeah, no,
actually
it's like pretty
very
easy to understand, right?
yeah, like, and he even said itself, like he dumbed it down so he could get more viewerships. Like he even said it. I
Yeah,
think it was
right.
in
I
the
remember that. I remember that. I remember him saying that.
yeah. So like, but I think actually Cole actually to some degree developed more parasocial relationships as a result
He
because
does
he
seem more
was
like your boy.
very
Like Kendrick seems like way too fucking smart for me to talk. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Like when I see
Like
Kendrick, I'm like I can't like if I
this is
saw him, I'd be
super
like,
interesting. This is
damn.
super interesting, right? Because this is the thing with
Mhm.
all content creators, where 90% of their viewers are much stupider than them, but don't know that they're stupider than them because they have because. But again, it's about most people just don't have it. They don't have the patience or whatever. Because now that I
Mhm.
think what you're saying, I think maybe yes, the more vulnerable you get, the more relatable you become. But it has to be relatable only really. Like again, like content creators will by strategy be vulnerable and create parasocial relationships. And then it's like super ironic because then they basically have to act completely fake to their fans. Because for me, like when I think about like I've seen Twitch streamers like say like we're not friends, and to me that's like the biggest like hit because I'm like how can you fucking say this? That's literally your
Yeah, how
whole
can you say
brand.
that to your
Like how can
audience
you
when
actually
you're
like
relying
like
on
you
that?
sound like such a dick. Like you sound like such a dick saying that,
You
right?
literally do,
Like you
but
sound like the
it's
biggest
true though.
dick, right? And but the point is like here it's interesting, right? Because think about an actor, right? But again, like acting is all skill based, right? So, or your looks, whatever, but that's still like an economic factor. Okay. So it's like it's super interesting because that one and it's an old um it's an old profession, right? It's super interesting. There is no parasocial relationship built up because that it's acting, right? You might still love them as a fan, but that character is not really them. What's interesting is then you'll have once in a while where actors like open up about their real life or whatever, and everybody's crazy for it. And I think that does build a bit more of a parasocial relationship. But at the same time, it's money.
Mhm.
Like, how can the
Yeah,
industry, of course, their business, they'll always go for it because it's money, right? Because like now people are like, oh, like I relate to them more, so now I want to watch their movies more. So
yeah,
I think
exactly.
yes, the more vulnerable you become, the more parasocial it becomes, and it's like that's why
So,
Twitch
but how
streamers
do
are
you
sort of
ride
like the
that
bottom
wave?
of the bottom because they
But
have to.
like, do you for one? So that you're right, you're absolutely right, and that's an incredibly interesting point. And the question that follows is A, how do you ride that wave? And then B, do you want to ride that wave? Is it beneficial for you to have that? Because you're
It's a
right,
tough one, bro.
Drake and Kanye, and even J. Cole, as we've now discussed, and all the Twitch streamers, to some extent, rode that wave, and it did propel them to their success. Um, but you look at somebody like Kendrick, and for the Twitch streaming sense, Ninja, they just were good at the shit they did, and they didn't talk about personal experiences. In fact, they probably avoided it to some degree, and they still were at the
It's
top.
interesting.
In fact, they were above them because
Ninja's an
like
interesting case.
Ninja was the best Twitch streamer. Kendrick is one of the
It's
most
interesting.
revered rappers of all time.
Ninja's proved
But
that
so
you
is
can
J.
Twitch
Cole.
stream just with a thing and not your life.
I think
Ninja's
that
proved that
comes
it's possible.
down though to a couple factors. A, are you the best? Are you the best?
Well, probably
Because
not in general. Like,
I
I'm sure
think
you would be
that,
Ninja. I'm sure you wouldn't do, live streaming with your boys if Ninja didn't exist. But Ninja does exist, so there you go. You
but
know?
is Ninja the best?
Well, yeah.
I mean, there's probably like better, but they just
Well, yeah,
yeah.
but
Well,
like,
yeah, no,
what
he
does
is.
that
Yeah,
mean though?
he'd
Like,
have to be the best. He'd have
like,
to be the best. So is Kendrick. He'd have to be the best. So
yeah,
is the parasocial relationships some form of compensation for not being the best?
absolutely, absolutely, yeah, yes, like, yes, that's literally the thing, right? It's personal versus professional,
So then, to some
and the
degree,
industry
some
will
people.
default to
Mm,
parasocial because it's fast money, and you're probably not good enough anyways to win the other way around. You see some
damn.
personal creators, you see some personal artists, sorry, some artists who like study the game before and know how it works, kind of game it in a more smart way, but they're practicing patience. Like look at Russ, right? if you study
Yeah.
Russ, which I didn't, but like
Yeah.
people around me have, like, but he's just practicing patience this whole time. Like, I don't have that fucking patience, you know?
Damn.
So it's like,
Wow, that's interesting.
look,
So evidently, we're probably both gonna end up building some sort of parasocial
in some way
relationship.
we're
Right?
safe, in other ways nobody's safe because, bro, like me, like I'm still a fucking money-minded guy. Like I'm taking
Yeah,
quick
like,
cash, right? So, but
and hey,
at
you
the
know
same
what? I
time,
would like a little bit of some people to dab me up. You know, if they respected me, I'd be like, Wagwan.
of course, you want to
So
get that, like how long did it take Marquez to get to, the, Hollywood carpet, right? Like you want that shit. At the same time, though, we have
but
like
at the same time, it's bad. Like
at the
it's
same
you don't
time,
want to be
we
famous.
have something else to lean on. It's just a matter of not letting, the limelight pull you, which of course you got to come back to
Hmm.
your values, got to come back to grounding with people that you know, you've known for a while. Um, and yeah, like I know, like personally, like I know myself, bro. Like, dude, like
Yeah.
it's hard because I don't have, like, I don't live for that much except for getting rich, right? So it's like it's super, but also I'm just being real with myself, right? So it's like most people just aren't real with themselves, right? But it's like that's just the reality. So
Yeah.
so it's like when it comes to it, I won't, right? I won't diverge because I'm confident that I can still create value as a manager, you know, and at the same time, like I'm confident that I can still like build up a family and all this shit, without all this. But it's like it's a slippery slope to go down. But again, we have our things to lean on, and it'll be almost like a prostitution situation where like, oh, like your one stream of income stops, like shit, this failed, fuck, I
Yeah.
need cash quick, right? That comes down to patience, right? Because if I was more patient
Yeah.
with my spending, I would have had savings, right? So, dude, that's just a vice. That's just a vice thing, right? So it's like, will
Wow.
you let
Yeah.
your vices eat you up? But don't get high on your own supply of success, I guess.
Absolutely.
It's why
Absolutely.
it's a tricky game. But if you go down the content creation path for cash, that's a slippery slope, right? Because
Yeah. You're right. That's the thing though. We're not basing off of like we're not using it to make cash.
for
Like,
me right now, yo,
well, yeah.
it's not on my plan, right? It's not on my
Yeah,
plan.
yeah. It's
Again,
not,
I know myself though. Like,
but it's not out of the table. Like it could happen. It could happen.
I hope it doesn't.
Actually, I hope it does. I hope it
I hope
does.
it does, but in a way that doesn't make me like Jake Paul. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It has to be a result of the other things we do. It has to be like Jordan Peterson. Like you
exactly,
see,
exactly.
Jordan Peterson has all these income streams just because he's just a great psychologist and he just cared about people.
That's why I say this stuff probably won't get views until we are
Yeah,
successful. It's
exactly.
more like a
And we don't
memory
care
look.
about that stuff though. Like we really don't care because
Well, no, but it's great
again,
because once we do get successful, this will get credible, and then we'll sell off of it, which will just increase. You'll pour more water into the fucking
and it
pool,
would
I
be really
guess.
insane. It is
And
really
it'll just be
insane. Like
sick,
imagine
right?
looking back at the
Yeah,
shit that we put out
yeah,
since we were like
yeah.
18.
Yeah, imagine just looking at your AdSense account, you get $1 million, and you're like, shit, bro, like I already have 1 million, so it's like, fuck, like I guess, but
Yeah, bro. That's top G shit. That's probably what Andrew looked at. Actually, no. Andrew Tate
no,
definitely.
he's generating his income from this though,
Yeah.
like this thing.
So what examples have people done that from? Like
Which
who?
one?
Who?
The
Like
virtuous or
who has done
the
that?
vicious path?
Like who has just looked at their shit and been like
What?
AdSense? Yeah. Like who
Yo,
has made content?
probably, well, all in, obviously, except for Jason.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, except for one of them.
Yo, that's interesting because we always say, why is Jason a bitch? He wants to create content.
It all ties in. It's a circle, bro. Because he's dependent on it. And he's also probably trying to get that
Well, he wants
that
fame.
yeah, yeah. And it's all ties in because it's like his only income,
Dude,
as you
you
said.
can't. This is actually such fucking huge evidence that if you chase fame, you will become a bitch.
Yeah.
It's
It's
interesting.
inevitable. It is
Yo,
interesting. It's interesting how it ties in because you said like, oh, you know, if like your primary income stream, you'll tend to try to create these superficial ways to get the marketing off the ground. You'll try to expand more and scale more when you don't need to. And you'll become more disingenuous, not only to yourself but to your audience. And you'll try to be like super fake. You'll try to be Mr. Beast when you're not Mr. Beast. And that's honestly not the wave. Because if anybody but Mr. Beast did it, they low-key seem like a bitch. And it's
Well, he's original though, so that's why it
exactly
works.
I'm saying not anybody but Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is him. He's top.
But Drake is originally Drake. It's just that his way of doing it is no. Aiden Ross is still like a genius in that kind of sense, right? Like he capitalized on parasocial relationships unlike anybody else, except
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah.
Right?
Because that's the
But
thing, right? And it ties into as well to what Andrew Tate says. It's like he's dependent on the Matrix. Like these people are dependent on the Matrix for their success, and if you're dependent on the Matrix, like the system can very well easily take it away
I
from
think
you, and that's not
that's a
powerful.
far. The thing is,
If
we're
Aiden
still
Ross,
we're still so many layers dependent. Like at least for me, like bro, I want a yacht. Okay, I guess I'll be dependent, bro. Like
me
that's the thing, right?
too.
The thing
I want
is
to
though,
own the yacht
like you have
club.
to pay
I want
bills,
to own
right?
the
So
yacht
it's like
companies. I want to be designing yachts.
it's true. It's true. It's a good point.
I
I
mean,
don't
like
know.
I want to be doing this stuff. I want to be on yacht parties.
This is
I want
hella
to be
this
I
is
want to be in the
going
white club.
more philosophical. I think like going back to people all in. Interesting. Let's name the people who because people either went into this already there, aka sort of like what we're doing. It's just a side thing, right? Like the same way that we've been doing this call, right? It's an all-in tactic in that sense because we've already been doing it for years. Now we're just like, well, let's see if anybody else likes it, right? That's why this is literally completely based on all in, right? It's not based on all in because we talk about all in shit. It's based on all in because it started the exact same
Yeah.
way, right? So yeah, they went into it like that, right? Of course, we see now a man who has some, qualities that we personally don't want to see in ourselves when we grow up, kind of switch things up, right? Or there's people who want to do it, but they go the dirt poor route with patience. They have patience in being dirt poor, right? Like Casey Neistat probably had patience in being poor. Um, an interesting one is teaching men fashion, right? Who said, "Bro, I don't give a fuck. I'm monetizing every single video." But at the same time, I don't think he's my boy. But what's interesting is he has a lot of brands, which is probably how he makes a shit ton of his money as well. Because I know full
Mhm.
well that he like has a lot of disposable income because he has fucking cars for days. So like, but he has a lot of clothing brands. So he's actually built up credibility in his own figure. And then at the same time, been like, fuck it, like I'll monetize this. Which interesting because in my head it occurred that All In is never monetized. In my head, I'm like, I would totally monetize this, but that
They
actually
haven't
doesn't change it.
monetized?
All In,
No, they
they
have
don't want
ad revenue.
All In does not want to monetize. However, Jason does want to monetize it.
Oh yeah, because Jason wants
Right.
all the
However,
merch.
in
He
my
wants
head, when
like
I was thinking about that, I'm like, at least right now, I'm like, I would monetize this. However, that wouldn't change it. But the point is like we're still adding the monetization on top. We're not going to play to it. At least, that's the plan.
no. Yeah, because we
It,
don't
it
care
wouldn't
about
happen.
that.
Realistically, it wouldn't happen.
Like if we get demonetized for one video, like why would we care?
I'm
Because
not
it's not
building my livelihood off of this. So
exactly.
I'm not a content creator, bro. It's not me.
We're just trying to talk. We're
I'll
just
manage
talking.
content creators. um,
Yeah, exactly.
so, okay, other people. I think it's
Yo,
always sad to see people who hopped on their wave, hopped on their success too early,
what do
and
you
then
what do you
lost.
mean? Like they upgrade their life too fast?
Well, yeah, but that's also just more of a financial thing. Um,
Well, like in general, like you like oh I'm like you're a little rapper like in
yeah, right.
2019
So
you're like oh
that's more of a general thing. It's or like crypto, right? That's more of a general thing that entertain
no
talk
but
about
you're
using money.
like you're saying like people who like
It's not sustain. They don't have sustained income, but they
yeah
they spend, right? Because like that's something that I fear for myself. It's like one of my biggest things that I'm like shit like have to hold myself back because it's like, bro, like don't fucking buy a car, like
yeah
you know
just don't
it's tough, but
yeah
um okay, Nelk is interesting. Started real. I don't know what exactly happened at Nelk. Um,
I don't I don't know Nelk personally so but what could I tell from Andrew Tate from what their Andrew Tate
oh yeah,
podcast
yeah,
that you recommended me to watch it
yeah.
seemed like they were pretty genuine guys like
I think they know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
they know.
I
They're
think they know what's up.
yeah, bro.
They're pitching to an
They
audience
definitely this
that's
whole
like about parties
conversation
and shit.
that we're trying to get answers. They have this down for fucking ages now. So yeah, no, you know
Yeah.
what? They're strategizing as
It's crazy
motherfuckers.
though that it looks like they have it down, yet they have so much questions for Andrew for advice, for Andrew Tate.
Mm, interesting.
It's interesting because you would expect somebody who's like, on the same wavelength, which was, I don't know which one of the Nuck, but the guy who has like the family and shit, asking a
But
lot
the
of
thing is,
advice
no,
from
they're
Andrew Tate.
professionals in their career. Okay, they're professionals in their career. They didn't
Mm.
talk to Andrew. Only that one bitch guy was talking to Andrew about the fucking TikToks, right? Like they know how he fucking made it in his career. They're asking for life advice, which obviously Andrew's been through it. So like, he's that guy.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, actually. Yeah. I
Um,
would always ask Andrew for advice,
right,
regardless.
exactly.
You
So,
and Andrew Tate, so Andrews are just top G's.
um, and Dushan.
Oh, Dushan, bro. I miss him. We need to get him on the pod for the one time.
Oh my God. Um, yeah. I don't know, bro.
No, we
Yo,
said though
it's been a
Freddie would
lot of
be our
content
first
talk.
guest.
Sorry?
Freddie would be our first guest.
Yeah, yeah, truth, truth. Well, Hattie is the first, Hattie's gonna be there in the background recording this shit, and then we
Oh
jump
yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, bro. Like,
Yo, so we talked about
I don't know. I'm not gonna be putting too much
brand
effort into it. I'm gonna
creation.
just be putting it out.
We talked about credibility. Now it's capital.
Well, this is
What
the
the
tough
fuck
one,
is up?
bro.
What the fuck is up? The brands come with the capital and everything else brings in capital, but the capital is the most important thing. How do we establish that? Because the brands are
Well,
actually relying on our ability to create stuff. It's
which is kind of good.
relying
It's a good incentive structure.
It is good because we don't care about that shit. We're trying to make actual stuff. So, talking about capital, how are we going to do it? Me personally, it's through riding the wave of AI and trying to follow that convergence and then breaking into the singularity and saving the universe from Evangelion. Shout out to people who know Eva. But essentially, we got to find a way to monetize and leverage specific knowledge that we predict to have in the future. That's,
Yeah.
I think, what we're going to be doing. We have to like, which is essentially what's the goal setting and whatever. But I mean, we talked about monopolies before. Um, we've talked about, I guess, well, have we even talked about like actually starting up like a business, like the basic forms? Like, how do
Well,
we
I'm in the
get?
process of it right now, so I'm can be a source of
That's funny.
information.
It seems a lot easier. It seems a lot easier to talk about the abstracts and the end goal than it
Oh,
is to actually talk about the
wow,
nuances.
how funny. I mean, yeah, of course.
How can we break down the monopolies so well, yet it's like a difficult thing to think of? Like I don't have
Because
an
because
immediate thought.
because society has raised us to have the opposite of a bias towards action. Society has raised us to ask questions at every
Yeah.
single point, bring up
The
a
Matrix, bro.
nuance. Bring Society has raised us to literally bring up a nuance in every single thing rather than testing it out, right? We don't break things,
Mm.
right?
They don't
And
care about the
and the
scientific
thing is
method.
like,
They're not about that.
literally like every single thing needs to be tested, right? So I mean, but at the same time, just as I'm saying this, I'm getting jittery because the thing is, this is the one thing that I haven't cracked, and then for some reason, I'm getting so excited as I'm saying it because, like,
Yo, that's
yes,
crazy though.
because it's the one thing we haven't cracked, and the reason that it's hard is it's gotta be easy, bro. Because the other thing is, it's the mind, right? Like, if Elon did this, he's done this 10,000 times, so it's fine. It's not a
That's
big deal to
true.
him.
That's true.
The
They
same way
all
that
have it. They
it's
all
like,
have it
bro, like
already.
I still cannot write essays, bro. Like, bro, my fucking birth essays are gonna be written by Chat GPT, bro, and we'll see what happens. I'm not about to spend time on that. Like, but the thing is, I remember still it gets a bit easier, writing essays. At least maybe
For
you're
all
a little
sakes
bit
and
better at writing
purposes,
essays than
Andrew
me.
did not write any of his applications by ChatGTP.
Yeah.
He wrote them
Wait,
all by
bro, I hope
himself,
they don't
guys.
see this. Listen, nah, that was I don't even have access to open it. Yeah, they nah.
Yo, I don't even have access to internet, to be
I don't
honest.
know how AI works, bro.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't.
this is
Anyways, as you're saying.
okay. So like, but the thing is, I guess that the first time I read an essay, it still was way fucking harder because it's like so like I don't know, bro. It's just something about it. But the thing is, I understand that you probably because you read it, you're probably much better at writing essays than I am. But like if I were to do them a lot, it would just become much faster. Just like video editing is kind of the same thing. Like get into it, or like
Yeah.
coding. Now you just fucking open the DAW, right? Or like Excel, like doing Excels, which is like what I do now. I just like look at spreadsheets and shit. Like, you build up pace, which is why I'm always so like laid back at the start because I'm like, bro, like it'll build up, right?
Mhm.
So this is so exciting because
Yeah.
we get to finally break this barrier, and nobody ever does. Nobody ever does because the thing is,
Yeah,
people for their
literally.
whole life will talk about their personal lives and find themselves. That's what's gonna be big for them. Because I just saw it because I was just sitting with my family, right? So people will, for their whole life, find themselves and figure out things about the world that they never knew, these groundbreaking ideas that they understood. That's why I said earlier to you, like earlier in the year, like, bro, like we've been through all this. We've got to
Mhm.
break the next barrier that nobody gets to because we've already broken down all these barriers, right? So it's like
That's making
capital is the
money.
big one. So that's why, it's hard.
So what is it? What is it
Fucks
though?
aside. Okay,
What is
okay,
it? What is it? How do we break through?
all right. I mean, it depends because it's kind of the same thing with marketing, right? Where you can take the patient route, or you can take the patient route, but you go like this, or you can go like this, which is sort of what I'm doing. It's
Okay,
a
but the
same.
thing is with money is that the impatient route is the illegal route, and it's treading that line
What do you mean?
like FTX.
That's not, bro. There's so many different industries. Because the thing is, I my understanding, right? Like again, like I'm doing it more as like a businessman, but I guess that is the weeds of it, right? Like you have to know your industry thoroughly. You have to be an
Yep.
expert in that industry, and then
So
you
that's that,
either
that that's the first thing. That's the first key thing. You have to have specific knowledge.
yes,
That's what we need to
marketing,
establish.
right? As in product development marketing, like you have to be an expert in an industry because it's going to be very, very nuanced, right? You're not going to capture something big. At least for all the monopolies that have been made, they always start with a niche, as we know. That's more theoretical. However, what society really doesn't show us because they kind of ease us into doing more and more nuanced things is that when you're at the highest level, details are fucking ridiculous. And the thing
Mm,
is, the market of business is so extremely competitive that you have to choose your nuanced niche because you have to kind of find your edge, like from a marketing standpoint. You can't go general because like there's no competitors, right? So like for
mm.
me, what I'm doing right now specifically is I'm downloading these JPEGs, right, from websites. My number one first step is to basically what I'm calling upstart the business, which is what I'm in the process of closing in on now. Like if I want to really register my business, I can also do that. I just go on like I go online, I go on like the Canadian government website or like I think like owner.co or whatever. I'm gonna like, create a self proprietorship. Obviously it can be a self proprietorship, which is basically just an extension of you. You have full liability for assets and legal and whatnot. Okay. Then later you can incorporate your business so that it becomes limited liability and you can create shares and shit, right? That's like a small business perspective. Again, if you take the patience path, which is probably what you'll do, and you get seed investment, you're gonna probably have like venture capitalists and like advisors help you with this stuff early on, which is why I feel like a lot of people in the tech world are a little bit kind of jaded from this kind of, like hard bones business stuff because it just feels much easier. But like the thing is, this is why I feel like it's sort of dumb to study it when you don't have your idea because you haven't built up the industry expertise yet. Because like
You're
it's
absolutely
it's
right.
it's still it's still it's completely transitory knowledge.
Because
Like
yeah, you're absolutely right.
like
Naval's
I could tell you all day
gotta
about the
grow up.
different fucking types of businesses and shit. Like, bro, what the fuck's to help you? Okay, like you don't even know all this shit.
Yeah, it doesn't
You don't even need
matter
a fucking
because
MBA.
exactly. If you can't play basketball, like if you try to play every single sport, you won't get into any of the leagues because like sure you're a round athlete, but like you have no specific capacity to all of it. That's why they say
Yeah,
master of none, jack of all trades. They're the same thing because you have all these capabilities, yet you don't pursue anything discreetly, and that's super important in business. So in this case, where you have like all these passions about whatever you want to do, and you have ideas for everything, well, that's good for us. We have no capital, so it's no point for us to dive into business sense for all those things. That's why it's super important to find product market founder fit, where the founder is, and it's honestly super classical. Like I don't know why it's not a crazy big thing. It's basically just saying you should be able to be fitted into that
yeah,
seamlessly into that
yes,
market, not like, coming into it and like just being a founder for the sake of being a founder. That's the absolute wrong way to go about it. Startups, I mean, as I'm sure a lot of people know, have a lot of work ahead of themselves and they have a lot of long hours and a lot of dedication to it that people who just aren't like obsessed with it fully won't be able to survive, and it will be an infringement and a detriment to the business in that circumstance. So, it's important to be nuanced and finding your niche, but it's not finding your niche in a sense of, oh, I need to find a niche. It's finding your niche, finding something that you are specifically knowledgeable about and also can provide real value. I'm not going to be, and it's really simple. Like people just try to that's why, they push to these business students that, yo, in creating a business, you got to find like product market fit. You got to find, things that you're actually passionate about, etc. These ideas need to have an actual market. A lot of these tech people put these startups and they're super cool, they're super great, and they pitch these ideas, whatever, and they end up having to pivot because they realize their market doesn't exist. They realize that there's just not enough demand for it, and they've already created all this innovation, which in idea is cool, but you can't convince everybody can't be convinced that this problem does exist or this problem is even valuable. So
Don't convince
we have
people.
to
Just
make
have it
sure.
exist in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, well, I
I'm
don't know.
not
I
gonna be
can't
fucking
really think of an
convincing anybody to buy
example.
posters. Like if they don't want to buy posters, the business failed. That's it. There's not gonna be any like, please buy
Literally.
it. Like I'll try to
And
iterate the
it's
product a little bit, but
and it's
like,
not saying not to do it, but like look at fucking
well, this is
like
me finding product market fit. Like I just instead of coding, I spent some money, but it's like same idea.
but it's fine, like cuz you're exploring it. Like but that's important to consider, right? Like building a good successful business early on. It really comes down to like the really simple intuitive things. Understanding your customer. And that's the basic building block. Understanding like who's giving you the money, who's taking the value essentially from whatever
Yeah,
you're offering.
yeah.
So I mean, like, so then that begs the question, like, how do I convince people, not necessarily through marketing, but including that and whatever other methods to get value from my product? Because you have like the actual engineering feat, that is the nuanced thing. There may be like a bunch of frameworks for whatever, but
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I haven't really built a business, so I can't really get into the engineering feats. What I could say in that regard between that is that have an actual product. Don't be Elizabeth Holmes. Um, don't lie to people. Don't cheat. Like, don't fuck up. Don't break the law. You should be fine in your engineering processes. Try a bunch of things. Don't be scared to pivot. Don't be scared to try new ideas. Don't be scared to fail on your products between other people. Continue to push it out. If you really think it's dead and the idea is dead, then the thing will die eventually. That's all I have to say for engineering. But how do I actually convince? How does anyone actually convince somebody to buy their product?
Well, it depends on the product. Like for your product, I think maybe like more of like a kind of
Algo,
trial. Yeah, for
free
algo.
trial.
My apologies. Yo,
Algo.
it shouldn't even be a free trial. It should be just like you just need to get people to pull up to your research group, you know, like 10 people just like sitting on computers and then they're just there using it and you're just like talking to them about the experience and shit. And you might even have to give them some like free pizza or whatever. And then like yeah, so they're just using it and then you're just iterating, right? And you see how they react to that and then based off that, you see, you know, what are they finding most useful and then yeah, obviously there's gonna be like a free trial or
It's
whatever,
just it's
or it's just
iterables.
generally gonna be it's probably generally gonna be free because like yeah,
I mean, it should be.
it's
It
like it's
should be
probably
free.
gonna be free realistically, but
Mhm. I should be
yeah,
selling the data sets. That's what I should be
yeah,
selling.
right. The data sets, or like to software develop, like your customers are software developers, right? Most likely, or like
No,
businesses, whatever.
my customers are everybody. I don't want that's GitHub does that better than I can. Hugging Face does that better than I ever could. It's for the regular person.
But it's kind of like Facebook, isn't it though? Because like they're not directly your customers, but like they're customers in the back. Like who's paying? Okay, again, we don't need
Mm.
to figure
Who's paying?
out
I would say,
what.
in the long run, who's paying will be businesses who profit off of the data
Right.
sets of the models that I used from their employees, in theory, to
Mm,
create their monotonous
interesting.
tasks. So, like, let's say I was an employee at
It's gonna be mad
IBM.
Facebook vibes, bro. It's gonna be mad social network. Because literally, you're saying I don't know what the party is, but like, bro, there's gotta be a fucking front end that's
There's
free,
going,
and there's gotta be a back end that's not free. That everybody thinks they're the fucking customer and they're
hey,
actually a user.
we've
Like,
been
let's go. It's
we've been
fucking dumb.
setting up monopolies. We've been talking about it. That's all they've been reiterating in my head. So it's all about it.
Okay.
So
Yo.
essentially, I gotta ask where Mark got his lizard skin from because like I'm gonna end up becoming the lizard. But so yeah,
Hopefully
so
bought
so
and out and for an extreme, really ridiculous amount, and then fall back in your mansion, and
yeah.
but anyways.
Yeah, lose like 80% of my stock just because I decided to go all in
Yeah.
a risky side business. That's crazy. Um,
Today I'll
I would
go.
say though,
We are
like,
deciding to pivot to human life expectancy.
mm, yo, imagine
Wall
though.
Street goes crazy.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. That would be crazy. Walking the Mark Zuckerberg
Elon
path.
move.
But
Anyways,
like, the thing is though, like, yeah. So like for me, for my business, for Algo or Go Rhythm, I feel like Go Rhythm would be a fire name. It makes sense for like automating tasks. No,
it could be. I don't know. I don't. I personally like. I
I
like
don't
it.
know.
I don't know
I'll
if it's
work out
better
the
than
branding
Algo.
myself. Algo, Go Rhythm, whatever.
I'll
Anyways,
tell you if it's
uh,
bad. I don't think it's bad.
yeah. I'll just I'll iterate through. I don't even know what the name would be,
Yeah,
but
but
so like yeah, so like yeah, that's also an important thing. It's making the actual business model. A lot of people end up like having ideas and they don't actually like understand how they're gonna make money. Like me, I'm saying like, oh, I'll make it for free, but like, is that even like tangible? Like, could I even do that? Because if I don't have any initial data sets to sell, then what am I selling?
bro, if
You know,
Sam
like
Altman says it's tangible, it could be because the thing is, no, like the thing is,
I was
you
thinking of
have a
doing
theoretical
these
business
credits
model.
like Sam Altman did.
Sorry.
I was thinking of doing like the credits Sam Altman did.
Yeah,
Like how many
yeah,
you could
yeah, yeah.
use.
No, but the thing is, Kate. Here's the thing, Kate. It's I think that okay, if you're super efficient, you are writing out like
Well, I
more
just
thorough
thought of a
business
great
models.
idea. Hold on.
Yeah,
I give them credits for them to use, like they have a limit of how many algorithms they could use to apply to their life. So let's say I wanted to automate, like, I wanted to automate
yeah.
making my schedule, automate making my thing. They get free credits
Oh, if
supply
they
if they bring their own algorithm, they get more credits. Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like if they refine the data set
That's what I'm
even
saying.
more, yeah,
No,
they
they have to
add
work.
like
They
they,
have to
oh,
do tasks for other people, right? To
exactly,
get the credits.
exactly.
S- That's
Exactly.
so sick.
So then I sell their data sets because in order to
Yeah,
use
yeah, yeah.
their app for free, which is what they will super incentivize to, they will continue to use the app, and then they'll end up just being like, "Oh shit, I need to get more credits." So then they'll put more shit into it, and then
Bro,
I'll have more data to sell.
multi-level marketing. Yo, what's up, guys? I'm here with my Ferrari. Listen, if you guys want to
Yo,
learn how to make $12 an hour just going through
knowledge
doing
here in my
tasks on
garage.
your computer, no, but the thing is,
Bought this
and
new algorithm.
you already
Pull
know
up.
that's gonna be one
Oh,
of your advertising schemes, right? It's just getting people
what?
to go on their computer. That's gonna be one of your advertising schemes is getting people to go on their computer to like do the thing, right?
Dude, that would be actually insane.
Because
That would be
no, because this existed right before it existed, where like people would get paid to go and like do surveys for businesses, right? So now you're gonna go get paid to train AIs.
Yo, could you repeat what you said? They were what the fuck are you doing? Bro, they're bringing James to Reagan's house.
Bruh, that's crazy.
Yo, sorry,
Damn,
I
bro.
couldn't hear you because they were
You
talking
could
to me.
literally, dude, AGI could learn so much from that relationship. But anyways,
So much parasocial relationships can
yeah.
be driven from
Okay,
that.
okay, okay.
It really is a parasocial relationship.
No, because the
So
thing is,
what were you saying? What were you saying before
I
that?
was saying that this was a thing where like you would get paid to go on advertise to go on like just like do surveys, right? And it would be a thing where like
Mhm.
people would just get like paid like I don't know, it's $2, $3 for doing a survey, and just like companies collect data,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So
It's just
it's the
like
same
that.
thing. So yeah, that could be okay. But what I'm saying is that in terms of like for example, when we had Motive, we said, oh, festivals can like go in on we said like oh like festivals and like clubs and whatever could like pay to have affiliate links and whatever. But like that was kind of like that was not a very thorough, thoroughly researched and thought out business model that we were doing
Yeah.
as we were finding product market fit. Okay, so the thing is the first step was still to find product market fit. We just weren't that efficient. Your first step is still to have 10 people go in a room and do the thing. However, if you're that guy, then on the side you are actually thoroughly doing a theoretical business model that like would 90% work, or actually 100% work, because you're finding the product market fit. That's the variable, right? Product market fit is the variable. The business model should work either way. Like, yes, there is
Yeah,
demand for
exactly.
this
Literally,
from a
literally.
B2B standpoint, right? So then when
That's
you
actually science.
so then when you go,
That's science. That's true
so
science.
so if you need to
Wow.
then create the business, right? You might, maybe you can bootstrap it, maybe not, but the point is, I think it's a bit of a different situation where like you don't have any revenue, or you know the investors agree with your theoretical business model because it's actually thoroughly thought out. I mean, they probably would say fuck you if you don't have any like actual like business saying we're down for this, but anyways,
Mhm.
the point is you have to find the product market fit, which is, you know you're not going to make any money off that. At the same time, okay, because what I meant when I said, the investors won't go for it, but most likely if the businesses aren't saying, because the thing is, your product is to the businesses, isn't it? It's kind of hard to
Yeah.
find product market fit with the businesses when you haven't found product market fit with the front end, which is obviously getting you paid nothing, right? So you're in a bit of an awkward position. However, obviously you have to, program.
The thing is though, they will fuel it. And honestly, I wouldn't even need investors at that point because like I would need less than $1 million. I would just need servers to hold all these algorithms in place.
Right.
In fact, I could just ask Oz, I could ask Amazon and Google Cloud to hold these and Google Colab, whatever, to hold these algorithms input. That's
Yeah.
all I need for the base plate because all I need is to perfect that expert policy. The plan is to have a feedback loop. I have it here. Um, it's to have that user input be
Yeah.
super incentivized, and then at that point, I create a feedback loop where the deep learning algorithm and the self-supervised learning algorithm can iterate on each of the policies and create an action predictor, as in it creates its own action policies. And at that point, I have a meta learning data set and I have something that creates expert policies. And then I don't need any more users at that point. I still can have them, but if I can get to a point where it has enough actions that and enough people on the platform, then I could create my own people that create the policies. As in, I don't need the humans anymore. If I have enough data sets, which don't exist yet, but if I can get something that can do all these actions in a very vicarious way, I can create the expert policies. And then at that point, I have a meta learning data set that doesn't even need users anymore, that I can just continue to feedback into the feedback loop and then train perfected employees, beautiful employees, and sell them to these businesses. That is the long term goal of this plan. That's why
Okay.
it's
Okay.
so
Okay.
scalable.
Okay. That
So
that's pretty ambitious, bro.
I
But
don't
like,
know if it's tangible.
listen,
I don't know if it will
listen.
work.
Make it
It
work,
all
bro.
relies though.
Bro.
It it all relies on the first algorithm, the first one. It
Product market
relies on the
fit.
ability for it to imitate the action. That's the basis of it. Because everything else can come super easily after that. Like literally, prediction actions is fine. I just have to be able to get an imitation algorithm to actually imitate the action in plan with the good reasoning. I need a language model that can use the policies. Well, that would actually be a later game, but eventually a language model that can try to predict some actions based on that. And then also, I need some sort of algorithm that can label raw data footage and user footage to actions. So interpret unlabeled things to make it labeled. The self-supervised part. If I can get the self-supervised imitation model to work, for one, that's a crazy research paper. I hope that exists somewhere. Or if not, that's my goal. And B, if it works and it works at a very scalable and very low level process, then everything will just fall like dominoes. So that's why it's so critical for this to happen within the next few months. That's why it's so critical because if I can get this to work, then I don't even care if investors don't give a shit because this will be valuable to me and it's impossible that it won't be valuable to somebody else because it's literally copying human actions. It's literally what they
Yo,
said AI
you
wouldn't
can
do.
also like they will care because you can bootstrap it. Def like they'll care. Like you can get like revenue. You can get the
Exactly.
revenue. Like
I
they'll
could.
care before the revenue, right? Because
It just has to
they'll
work.
see that the business
Just
model works.
it
Yo,
just has to
what you
work.
need to do, bro, is you need to put your head down, and
And go.
I'm basically talking to myself, and and that includes talking to the right people if needed, when needed.
Yeah.
But like like understand that like what you're laying out to me truly sounds like Theranos, because what you're literally saying to me is, yo, it all relies on this one thing working, and if it won't work, then we'll just go ahead and make it work anyways. Like,
Literally,
you know what I
if
mean?
it won't
So
work,
so
it'll just work.
so right. The point is like like this is kind of the cherry on top of all this. This is sort of like the ending. We've gone through the three things that you talked about, which and the last thing is the I, what another thing that I was thinking about the series. It's boring. It's a different type of excitement, but it's boring. It is complete clear mind, because you talked about talking to people and gaining credibility, and also shaking hands with the right people. Yeah, but like at the same time, like on the other end of that, like the kind of opposite is solitude. Like,
Mm.
bro, spending, like, tech lead said, like years ago, like he was being ironic, but it turned out to be completely right. The he said, what people understand about the way to be a great programmer is the ability to sit in front of a keyboard for 20 hours without leaving. And this is actually the ability to make money, at least, or new money, right? Because you have to start
Mhm.
somewhere, right, before you start doing negotiations and strategy and shit, right? So it's like in boardrooms, right? So it's like solitude, week
Hey
by week,
man,
52,
I
right?
embrace that.
52 weeks.
In fact, I look forward to that. I wish it upon myself. Like it's actually a struggle to get alone time. It's actually a struggle. Like like I have people I care about and I'm like, damn, like I want to let them know that I care about them, but also like they need to know that I'm trying to free them out of the hood. I'm trying to take them out of
They
the
won't
hood.
know until it happens. When
Exactly.
it,
So I
they
gotta
won't know
tell
until
them
it
like
happens. They won't know until it happens.
I gotta let them know like guys, like singularity is coming. And I'm gonna push it forward and then I'm gonna take it over.
They,
I'm gonna
nah,
contribute to Rocco's
bro.
basilisk and then I'm gonna push
They'll,
it away.
they'll be happy that you did it in the end.
Of course they
Um,
will. Of course they will.
yeah,
That's
it's just,
everybody, like once they see you on up, they're not gonna hate anymore. The haters are just gonna be like, damn, shouldn't have slept on him.
of course. But they didn't know any better. We do. That's right. That's what it is, though, right? It's the opportunity. Like like
It's the
it.
ability to see the opportunity though. That's
That is
key.
the
We can
opportunity,
see it.
because
That is literally the
because
opportunity. We can see it.
because it's here, and the only way to capture it is by applying the other aspect, which is extreme grind. And from a knowledge worker standpoint, your brain has to also be working. So it's a very hard thing to materialize. Like I was just here. We just had a family friend here who was like extremely wise. It's sort of unfortunate, because like, do you really want to live in your wisdom forever? Like, that's like just like being that one guy who just like knows shit that other people don't, but they don't even get it, so it doesn't really matter anyways, because it's not like, yeah, people will agree with you anyways.
No, you don't want to be the old
You
hermit,
just want to be a
okay? You want
preacher,
to be the
bro,
hero.
forever.
You don't you don't want to be you don't want to
Yeah.
be as much as I respect Andrew Tate, you don't want to be Morpheus. You want to be Neo.
Yo, the one
You
thing
want to
that
be Neo.
made me decide
I
a few
am
days
Neo.
ago, the one thing that made me decide a few days ago that I will do this is like, it was just the one thought, like, okay, well, what if I'm just here next year like this again? And I'm like, well, then I'd be like, the thing is, I wouldn't really be depressed, but I'm like, well, if I was here again with like no actual emotion about it, because that's just how I am. Like, I don't really have emotions about
Mm,
this stuff in the moment, but I just be like, well, shit, like, why not just try? Like, I just be like, I'll just try it
yeah.
this year then, because why not, right? So, but the thing is, bro,
But that's the thing, right? Like
there's the excitement of the positive, because do you understand the arc of, in 2023, sorry, in 2024, you and I live a 5 hour drive away from each other in the sunny state of California.
5 hours away in Ontario? No.
And
LA to San Fran.
and
Easy.
it's like,
Easy.
I only want to come to the, north for the summer, not the point is not the winter.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is, like, that's just the big, like, that's just like small goals, like me, like, like impatient guy, right? But like, going back to what you're saying, bro, I'm like low-key proud, like hearing you say the sentences that I don't comprehend 90% of them, because it's like, bro, not to go into a mentor role, like that's not what I'm assuming here, but bro, even for yourself, bro, remember what kind of doofus you were,
Really,
bro,
genuinely.
and
That's
you just
crazy. That's
talked,
honestly
and you just
so
talked,
incredible for you to
and the
say
thing is,
that to me.
you were
You,
literally
of all people, the computer science genius, when I was so inspired by your wisdom.
right, and it's like I generally like I don't know the technicalities that you're speaking of here, and it's crazy because you just sound, because I remember when we were first talking about TKS, and you're like, bro, like how do I figure any of this shit out, right? And now you're literally
I
talking
understand.
as like like not like one of them, but like like the top, right? So it's like, so
Mm.
like the opportunity that exists right now, it it exists for a lot of people. A lot of people, less people see it, but a lot of people see it. But like,
Less
you
people
know,
take action on it.
a f-
Less people
right,
know
bro.
what action
I'm
to
literally
take.
watching you say like these words, like, bro, I don't know any of this technical shit that you're talking about, right?
Shit,
I'm like, I don't
bro.
know, man. Like,
Shit.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Like, sounds cool.
Damn. Yeah.
Like sounds like you can change the
That's
world, but
cool.
shit,
Wow.
right?
Wow. That's an honor.
But that's the thing, right? Like when you talk with people about something that they can't comprehend, which is like high level ideas, all they say is like wow, like that's really cool, because it's like you
The
can't really
thing is,
discuss
I
it with
still
them,
be
right?
sounding an idiot though for people who actually understand, and that's
Truth,
levels.
but like for me, I also understand like that from a business standpoint. That's why I'm scared, and that's why I'm doubtful, is because I know that I don't have the fucking strategy. I don't have the experience with strategy, right? So it's like I can't
What are you
apply the
talking
same
about? What are you talking about?
It's the same for you because I'm not a Gary Vee marketer. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't got that strategy, but I'm learning it.
Says who?
Sorry,
Says who? You don't
it's
have it
by
in you.
fact. It's fact.
I
However,
mean, yeah, it's fact right
in
now. However,
solitude, in
However,
absolute
I
ground,
still to this day get shamed by your ability to analyze shit. Like you are incredibly comprehensive in your understanding of things, and your perspectives have always been intrinsically unique, and that is your strategic advantage. You have it in you, and it will come, and people won't see you coming because they don't know how you think, and that's the top G shit that you have. So don't underestimate yourself. You talk about, "Oh, I don't have a strategy." You do. It will come to you. Trust the source of infinite intelligence because it will bless you and bestow upon you the strategy that you need to see, as it has for our observations across time. It will continue to do so. You will see the strategy in due time. It will come to
thank you,
you.
bro. Thank you.
You got it, bro.
We you know we see each other, and like we gotta trust. You gotta trust me that you're that guy, and I gotta trust you that I'm that guy. And like,
You're that guy.
look,
I'm that
man,
guy. That's it.
just because again, like the short term goals are crazy, but once they happen, that's only when I'll think about them. But
The short-term goals
at the
are
same time, bro, at the
most
same
things.
time, if I don't know, like you might go to Australia, sure, bro. But I'm just saying, theoretical. Because the thing is, you have to understand that if when my shit works, like 2024, I'm starting to, is when I'm gonna start to work on a festival in Ottawa. Not like early 2024 necessarily, but the point is, it'll
Motive
evolve by
fast. Motive
2025, right?
fast.
It'll just be a summer thing. So I'm just saying, like again, like theory. We don't talk about it too much because we stay grinding. But scenario, the year is 2024. We live in fucking Cali, okay? Summertime comes 1 week, bro. Bam. What's good, bro? Hop on the PJ
Yeah.
potentially, okay? If it's not, fine. But as
Yeah.
soon as we come here, bro,
TJ.
it's still private cars, okay? We go,
Oh, of
bro.
course.
We go to the grounds,
We
bro. We
ain't
go to
find
the festival
public.
grounds,
We go
bro.
to drive our Rolls Royces to Ottawa if we don't got no PJ.
Bro, and then we pull up, right? And it's like, what the fuck do you even say if you're like what do you even say like if you're around us? Like okay.
Yeah,
Like you have
like
no idea.
no, you know what you say? You know what they say? They say, "Wow, that's cool. I don't
Wow.
understand.
Um
I don't understand." They
damn
can't
bro,
comprehend.
you really came a long way. Like,
Wow.
yeah, bitch. I came a long way.
I came.
Yeah, I came, bro. I just remember
Came.
this is being recorded, but like, so yeah. But anyways, truly, bro, yo, the opportunity for you to have this kind of impact in AI will set you up to, will put you in the position to affect immortality and
The long term.
the opportunity for me to generate in a month and consistently, aka for 2 months at the end of the year, the amount of money that equals $1 million US puts me in a position to start managing shows and then potentially innovate in the space. And then at some point, it all converges, of course. When we do this right, we're going to start talking to people who are within our own industries, but it'll all converge. Of course, it'll converge.
Of course.
So it comes down, but again, bro, like that's the number, 52, bro. Like this has to be quick.
Yeah.
This has to feel like nothing happened. Like once in 52 weeks, it has to literally feel like I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything this year. Like damn, I was just in front of my computer the whole like literally like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yo, what did you
6,
do?
7.
What did you do? I lost leg mass. I lost 40 pounds. I gained a lot of head weight, actually. My neck is tired. You just come out, your neck should be the deezest thing on earth, supporting all the brain power that's juicing up in here,
Yo.
man.
The point is, in every moment, like
Yo, that's actually
it's just
facts.
52.
People talk about, how your legs are tiny, your arms are small. Bitch, my neck is thick. I'm gonna have the deezest neck muscles holding up my
and my
cranium,
pockets,
man.
baby, and my pockets.
Yo, shit, bro. That's facts. Gotta fill up, bro. Yo, listen, man. I can squat 0 pounds on my
glutes,
money.
bro. It was my pockets.
Real shit. I can squat 100 pounds without my money. With my money, I can squat 80 pounds. You know why? Because I have 20 pounds of dollar bills in my shit already. That's what's up. That's how it is.
Like, bro, it's just 52. You could be in a different continent.
42.
I
42.
could be.
42 is the meaning of life.
Why is that?
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy said so. So you know what? 42 weeks. You have 10 weeks to figure shit out. 42. How much is 42 weeks?
Huh?
Like which month? Which month is it?
Like October?
Week 42. It is. Yo, wait, where is it? You're right. It's October 21st, 2022.
Yo.
I feel like that's a good deadline. Next Thanksgiving?
See where
Not
we're at?
even. But yo, next Thanksgiving, if next Thanksgiving you're not on the cusp of it,
well, good luck.
if you're not almost there by the time you're at Thanksgiving, then you're not going to be there by the end of the year. So if you're not going to be there by 25 weeks, you're not going to be there.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
What?
Yo, we're gonna get there, bro. Like it's actually crazy. Like I can see it. I could just see it, and it's crazy how I could just see it.
But you
And there's
have
so
to
many
cover
messages that I
all
have.
sides. You have to be a fucking dog.
Literally all of it. You have to focus. Just focus, bro.
It's like if your competitor tried to do something, bro, you already took care of that. If your competitor tried to do something else, you already knew. They didn't know that you.
Yeah,
knew,
bro.
but
They
you
were
took care of it.
out here. They're like, okay, I build up my brand. Now let's see what I can build with it. Oh shit, John already made a startup.
Bro,
John already posted a research paper. What?
No, I literally mean this.
Yo,
Like
Andrew's making my posters. I gotta make. Maybe I gotta make my own brand on Instagram. Oh shit, he already has Motive Pod. He already has Andrew's videos, Andrew's vlogs.
No, I'm literally saying it's gonna feel like for me, bro, it's gonna feel like this. But it's the thing, right? It's always the paradox. At the same time, it's gonna feel fat because I did so much. But like, boom, like literally, cut, and here we are. 52 weeks.
Yo, let's act. Let's act how it's gonna be. How's it gonna be? How's it gonna happen? Yo, cut. Yo, what's up? Sunday. Sunday 21st. This is week 42 of 2023.
Hey, that money coming.
Hey, yo.
Baby.
Yo, so listen, man. I just got home.
View, bro. It's light outside, baby. We got the beach
Wow,
here.
shit, bro. Listen,
Yo, this is really gay, bro.
No, but really, how would we be? I feel like we would be the same energy that we have right now. but we would
It'll be the
have it.
exact same. It'll be the exact same. It'll be the exact same, except
I think the
some
difference that
validation.
we'll the difference that we'll
Just change.
have is that we'll be respectable, and it will just come across in our tone, like that
Yeah.
will be the only thing that changed.
The tones will be much more professional. It'll be much more like it'll be much more strong, much more confident.
It'll be like
There'll be something about it.
like it's how they say like the people who fought in wars, they have like those war eyes.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna change. We're gonna have
Yeah.
seen the battlefield.
Yeah.
They're gonna hear it in our voice and they'll be like, oh, these aren't kids. They're not kids. They don't fuck around no more. And
No,
that's what's up.
yo, that's right. No, that's interesting. That's interesting because literally, it'll be completely clear that
Hmm.
it's adulthood, right? Like that'll be crystal clear. Like
That's
there'll be no
crazy.
question about it, right? Because it, yeah, like provider. So
Yeah.
but yeah, like
Breadwinner. Red Monroe.
it's going to be just like nothing happened. Like what'd you do this year? Like nothing. Then they go online. Oh wait, a lot happened, but no, like it's clear. Years of meditation, years of thought, bro, and now we're truly ready to
Truly.
just clearly work and play the game how it should be played and win the game.
Win.
Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, it'll be clear, never getting high
We're,
on our own supply of success.
we're just
It'll
already high.
we
We don't
we
need
rate
any
each
more.
other
Exactly.
outside. It'll be rated on just like unforeseeable levels, but
But we'll see.
we have our circles.
Well, we're gonna have that mutual respect between our industries and our community, and that's what we're ready to establish. We're gonna be too good to ignore. That's the goal. We're gonna break into this industry just like JB did on YouTube. Gonna come in and like, yo, what's up, guys?
Facts.
You can't ignore me. Not because I'm
Facts.
gonna be a whiny bitch about attention. Not because I wanna signal to my rich billionaire friends that I wanna look cool. Not because I'm gonna
Because
act like I'm smarter than I am or am better than I am. It's gonna be just, yo, I'm here to show what's up.
facts. I like that. I like that.
I'm
I
here to
like
be a
that. It's
master.
real. It's
I'm here to
real.
become a master.
Master.
I'm here to learn swordsmanship from the best swordsman here. I'm here to
Facts.
learn. I'm
I like
here to
that.
be curious because I'm curious about winning.
Yeah.
I'm curious about being a master. I'm curious about playing the game, and that's what's up. That's how we're gonna be.
I'm just curious about what can you do out of life. I'm just curious about that.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious about what limits the human mind has. I'm just curious about how far I can go until I jump off the edge. And I'm
Yeah.
curious at how far I
Yeah.
can go and die
Yeah.
without getting hurt.
All right,
So that's
bro.
what's up.
Hardest year of our lives ahead.
Most important.
Tough times make strong men, and strong men make easy times. May I always be the provider. That's my role.
Real. Provider for all the generations.
May I
That's
always
what's up.
endure the pain and just the philosophical questions, and may I always endure the process of figuring it the fuck out, so that
Mm,
those who don't find it as their purpose can have easy lives,
facts.
so that they can experience consciousness to the level that suits them.
Exactly, bro. Just perpetuate humanity, man. Perpetuate individuality.
Right.
Embrace consciousness for what it is. That's what we're here for.
I journal every day, but today was
Real.
just so clear. I didn't say anything. All I said was literally all I said was just journey to LA begins. That's all I said. Like I had nothing to say, bro.
Yeah. Last night, literally,
It's
the
the
only
journey.
thing I had to say was just, it
Journey
begins.
begins. It begins.
It begins. Literally, verbatim. It
The
begins. That's it.
the games begin now, and that's life. That's present. That's existence.
That's the moment, bro. And we're gonna carry that momentum till the end, baby. That's what's up. All right, man.
Good night, bro. I love you.
I love you, bro. See you on the other side, man. See you at 52, 42
Let's run
weeks.
it.
And at 21. I got you,
42,
bro.
baby.